Yes, Spurs fans, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur here, and we are going to be doing the fan show today. So if you are a member of the channel, specifically a fan show member, do come in, have your say, have a chat with us, talk everything around Spurs. And unfortunately, the conversation might need to be had about whether Spurs have dragged themselves, and Thomas Frank has dragged himself into a relegation battle. We are about 8 points off of West Ham with some very difficult games upcoming. We have Man United, Man City, Arsenal, as well as Newcastle in February to deal with. That's a possible 12 points. I'm not sure how many Spurs fans even think we'll get more than 4 points out of that possible 12 in the next coming fixtures. And West Ham, they don't necessarily have an easy run of games either, but they seem to be in much better form and momentum, which really doesn't take much, to be perfectly honest. So are we in the midst of a relegation battle? And do you trust Thomas Frank to get us out of that regular relegation battle? Because if you do think that we are in one, do you think he's the man that can get himself out of it, be able to solve his own mess? Or if he isn't, do we bring in an interim, some sort of type of crisis manager that can at least, get us away from that possibility? At the moment, Dave, I'm almost a little bit juiced up by the fact that we could be in a relegation battle. I've never experienced one in my life, always something to check off the bucket list, really. So be thrilling, be maybe a little bit tense as well, knowing that you're looking at every other team's results, hoping that they drop points and that they don't catch up to you, but then also hoping that you can sneak some points here and there and get yourself out of it. So there's a bit of a thrill in that, but also as well, I'm kind of, as you probably would expect, a little bit ticked off because I'm seeing teams like Fulham today in seventh in a European spot. Fulham, a team that I don't even know if I could name more than half of their starting 11, really, to be perfectly honest. And they're finding themselves in seventh place. So, Dave, I mean, yeah, that's all I'll say. There's a thrill of being in a relegation battle, but then there's also the frustration that you see teams that probably should be where we are challenging for seventh and eighth right now, which is where we should be.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure there's any thrill in it, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
I'm not really enjoying being dragged into it whatsoever. This is something I tried to warn about for years with some of the decisions the club are making. And I warned we were heading this way if we keep making them decisions. And it just infuriates me more and more the fact that, they keep making decisions, we keep heading this way. And to be honest with you, you'd like to think we've got enough to be able to see ourselves out of it. The old saying, we're too good or we're too big to go down. But when you've got owners that are wet behind the ears and afraid to make cutthroat decisions in a cutthroat industry, that's what leads you towards relegation. When you got a director of football in there in Johan Lang, who keeps missing wildly with nearly every transfer that he's brought in, that's how you end up getting relegated. When you bring in managers that aren't good enough to manage a squad of players that you've given them and are not getting the best out of them, that's how you get relegated. When you've got medical departments, not under pressure to get these players on the pitch and no questions being asked them and everyone's just allowed to run the asylum, that's how you get relegated. And this is where we are right now. I think everybody really needs to start waking up to that fact. And, I'd hope that more and more people start turning up to the protests, more and more people make themselves heard in the stadium as well. We can sit here and say support is what's going to get us through this. We turn up every single game. That's support, I don't want to hear it. It's just about now everyone's sort of coming together and inside the club internally and finding a way to start producing results, because you come out of this very tricky February, all of a sudden you're dragged into it. Does anyone really see Thomas Frank as the guy to steer you out of it? Does anyone see these squad of players as the characters that'll dig in and keep this club above it instead of looking for excuses to tap out and get out? These guys were already moaning at you guys, the fans, and all when we were sitting in 12th, 11th, places like that. So I definitely don't think they have the heart to get us out of it. I'm really, really concerned in the direction where this club is going, Jack, to be brutally honest with you. And the biggest problem is when we can't score goals, how do you expect to win games?
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably just happy clap or spin the narrative that being in a relegation battle could be good for just the adrenaline rush of being in one. But I think the realistic one would say, I would actually prefer not to be in a relegation battle. That would be nice, actually. So I agree with your narrative, Dave. I'm just, of course, trying to spin it as best I can so that I just don't go absolutely insane at this point in time as a Spurs fan, really.
Like, I do get what you're saying in terms of you're probably gearing yourself up for the fight. There's a real realization of where we are, where we're heading, and you're gearing yourself up for the fight. I'll probably get to that stage at some point and stop getting pissed off at the club and break. We have to show some sort of fighting spirit.
Yeah.
But with a club of our size, with our nature, not so long ago, we had great players banging in goals. We're only after building a massive stadium, massive training complex. We're attracting all the best sporting events, fucking music events, everything else around the world to the stadium. And yet we're a club sitting here in the relegation battle. It's absolutely embarrassing. And anyone sitting here hoping for the rest of this window to save us and save our season, all the signings we've given Thomas Frank, he's failed to get anything out of. So the signings are not going to fix this situation alone right now. And to be honest with you, I have a strong feeling the club are really struggling to convince players to sign on the dotted line here this January as well. So
that's one of the main
sorry to be
questions.
doom and gloom, but it's where we are.
I mean, there's what gloom? Find me some gloom, please. I'll cling on to it and absolutely drink it up wherever I can find it. We're gonna get some people in the chat greeted, and then we'll get the show underway because I imagine it will be a busy one tonight. If you are a fan show member, do come on, do have your say. We're going one at a time, 1v1, hash it out with you guys. Allow Dave and I to see what other Spurs fans are saying and where they're feeling. Maybe they feel differently to us. Maybe it's not as doom and gloom, but it does feel like we're in a very scary position right now. Tom Lowry, he's saying, how is he still here? Club's a joke. We were saying that last week. We were saying that maybe even a few weeks ago, Tom.
Saying that
It's just
since
insane.
October.
Yeah, since October, exactly. Dropkick Your Teacher, good to see you. Hopefully everything's all right with you, Artist T. Sully 1882, good to see you. Benny Guy is in the house as well. We have the one and only Wayne Bonner. Good evening, folks. Hope you're all well. Make no mistake, we're in a relegation battle. Transfers have gone quiet, and Lange, Vinay, and Enoch are holding the club back. It just seems like they're only making wrong decisions, Wayne Bonner, right now. And of all the managers to stay patient with, this is the one of all the managers that they've hustled out the door. This is the one that they've decided to put their foot down and try to stay patient with. It's actually insane. It's like a Stanford prison experiment, what we're going through right now. Wayne Bonner. Tyler's in here saying we aren't buying anyone. I'm worried about that, Tyler. I am worried about that right now. We also have Kieran. Good to see you, my friend. Saying, hey, Dave and Jack, pick up to you guys. We need to get the manager out and get these useless board out as well. At the top are the biggest problem. This is what happens when you employ someone from Arsenal. A lot of people are putting out conspiracy theories right now, Kieran. Have they sabotaged us by sending us Vinay? Maybe even Johan Lange might have been a sabotage as well, to be honest. MJB is in here. Good to see you. Saying no win against Brentford, Sunderland, Bournemouth, West Ham, and Burnley in our Premier League games so far this year. But don't worry, because Frank's seeing improvements. Like it's like he's gaslighting us at this point, MJB. But I get it. He's got to do everything in his power to try to save his job. Like I think anybody would do that. But just coming from the fans' perspective, you just almost get even more ticked off when hear him say things like that, to be honest.
But when it's almost getting to the point where you're starting to see Vinay, Johan, and Frank stick together to save all of their reputations, to save all of their jobs. That's where the Lewis family need to sort of look in upon that and say, well, someone has to be held accountable here.
Yeah, I think it could be the case that they just don't. This is their first major decision, was bringing in Thomas Frank and sacking Ange Postecoglou. And I just think they don't want to admit to being wrong about it, right, in their first big decision, because it already kind of undermines their credibility and whatever goodwill that they might have in the fan base. Like their first opportunity to do something right, and they've clearly gotten it wrong, which at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to be, brave enough to just admit that you got something wrong. But it doesn't seem like that's the case for them. Iceman Ricky's in the house. Always good to see you, Iceman. Always good to see you, Ricky. Hopefully everything's good with you. Paul Vambin, big up Paul Vambin. Thanks for sticking by us. Thanks for sticking through this roller coaster here. Wayne Bonner's also followed up by saying we're too many positions to fill. Keeper, midfield, striker, wide players. The medical side of the club needs to be sorted out. These injuries and their length are beyond acceptable and reasonable. I mean, Dave listed off right in the beginning there, Wayne Bonner, all the things that are going wrong. It's practically a whole essay of things that you could mention. Maybe Dave will start becoming a writer at this point. He'll write a book about all the things that are wrong at Spurs at the minute. Good to see you, though. Harmless Potato, one of the best names in the business, and really appreciate your support. Sean Maddox is in here. Sack Frank, simply done. You'll hear Chris come in here, and that's pretty much every other third word that he says is Frank out. Sean Maddox. Dropkick Your Teacher with a super chat, and then we'll get the show underway. He's saying it's clear that the board thinks we're too big to go down. Also been saying it, Dave. Luck will eventually run out for this club. I'd argue relegation is inevitable now. Too many mistakes. It will happen within 4 years. I guess two-parter to that one, Dave. He thinks we could go down, but he's saying we'll inevitably go down.
Yeah, well, I just don't think we've got enough people around the club that love this club, that would really have the stomach or the fight to sort of face a relegation battle, to be honest with you. I think everyone that you've got in and around the club right now, players, coaching staff, manager, people like that, they'll all just jump ship. You know, they don't love the club the way we do. We don't have a Harry Kane or a Son or anyone there anymore to sort of protect that status to that degree that will pull people together for the club they love. We don't have anyone like that inside the club anymore, so that's a real worry. But also, you know, I said it when we had the likes of better managers in here, the likes of your Jose's, the likes of your Conte's. Can't keep burning through good managers. Eventually, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're backing the wrong guy. Kane and Son are gone. Your career towards a relegation battle. I've said that for time and time and time again. And, you know, it got to the point where I had so many people telling me, Dave, you've got to back Frank. No, not me. I didn't put myself into that corner. I tried to warn about this happening when Jose was here, when Conte was here, to not sack them, to back them at the first sign of trouble. So I'm not in a position where I have to back this guy to the very last to save my soul.
No, I'm in the same boat. I was never a big fan of the signing to begin with. I tried to rationalize it, you know, just for my own sake of, again, keeping my sanity. But the moment that things started going deeply wrong with Frank, I was very quick to jump off
you know
the train.
what?
I don't feel loyal to this guy whatsoever compared to other managers.
I probably should have tried to rationalize that at the time. I probably would have saved myself a lot of abuse and headaches.
Maybe save yourself headache, yeah, but probably the abuse would have happened regardless, because there are a lot of big Frank defenders out there. Davey Hall, good to see you, my friend. Never felt so scared we will get relegated. The board won't back Frank with so much quality. Sad times. Big up, everybody. I'm feeling scared at the minute, Davey Hall.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it out to be some sort of type of fun, you know, case where it's like an escape room or something that you're trying to get out of, but it really is scary.
When your centre backs are the only ones that can score goals, how do you expect to be able to score enough goals to survive?
Well, I'm picturing Van de Ven or Romero late equalizer to save us from relegation at the end of the season. You could see that happening with how things are going. Dropkick your teacher. Thank you for the support, by the way. And if anybody wants to support the channel like he's done here throughout the show, feel free to do so. If you agree or disagree with anything someone might be saying, if you want to, you know, touch on whatever opinions they might have, you're welcome to do it like Artist T has. And also, if you do want to become a channel member, helps us out a ton, but then also allows you to have your say and come on the show. Yeah. But let's get this one started. We're going to go to Eddie first, and then we have plenty more people to run through after that. Ed Meister, can you hear us?
Jack, how are we going? Yeah, I get you.
It's going bad, Eddie. It's
Good
going
evening.
bad.
It's going very bad. I didn't expect this bad. I expected bad, but not this bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I didn't know if it would really get this bad. In a run of Crystal Palace, Brentford, Sunderland, Bournemouth, West Ham, and Burnley, Eddie, we picked up 6 points out of a possible 18. Just how is this even acceptable or even defensible for a Spurs manager? You would think that plenty of Spurs managers would have been sacked for this.
Plenty of Spurs managers would have been sacked for it, and I just don't see the thought process behind the board /Vinay as to why to keep Frank when it's indefensible. I just know how it's not like he's dealing with a massive injury crisis like we had last year when we had Archie Gray playing centre back. We're not dealing with that big of an injury crisis. We are dealing with an injury crisis. It's not that bad. We're still able to scrape. We're still able to get points against these not really good teams. We're letting in goals for fun. Frank was meant to come in and make our defense solid. I don't recall the last time we kept a clean sheet in the Premier League. And it's been a while. And Frank needs... I'm Frank out, but I don't want him out so badly that I'm willing to sack a game. I still want us to go and win games and do all that stuff. And I'm hoping against City we do that, go and beat City. Down, but I don't. And I'm hoping we'll see a change of tactics against City, because City is the type of team that you need to go after. You need to pressure this Pep team into making the mistakes. They've been letting goals in for fun all season long. They have a leaky defense, and I seriously think City's gettable. But can we put the goals away? That's the question.
We're almost approaching that situation we did under Ange Postecoglou. What was it? People like Blue till I die or City till I die or something a couple of years ago to stop Arsenal from winning the Premier League. It's almost that sort of game coming back around again. It's almost like deja vu. I'm fucking sick of it. But to be honest with you, I'm not being funny. Like, I know I always joke and I say, no matter what state Tottenham are in, no matter what we put out there against them, we always find a way of getting a result. Man City going for a title, however, galvanized by United beating Arsenal at the weekend, I'm not sure they're going to let it slip. You know,
might be the toughest City game we've ever had.
And we
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah,
we don't have
it's
goals like we had in years gone by, you know, in us to be able to
no.
beat them around.
No, we don't have the goals, and we don't have the manager to produce said goals and produce said opportunities for us to score against the City side. Look, I wasn't going to say anything about this game being similar to those of 2 years ago. I was thinking about it, but I felt people might get too upset about me bringing it up. But this is basically like,
I'll
do
just
we
do it.
sack this game? Do we sack this game off to keep City alive in the title race, or do we beat them and give Arsenal a lifeline? Personally, I've talked to my dad about this. Personally, I see Villa being the real contender for the title. I've checked, looking at the form table. It's much better than City. They're playing better than City. I think Villa's the real title contender here. But do we give City that lifeline and just hand the title to Arsenal?
I just call me crazy, guys, but I don't think I could tolerate us losing to City, knowing that I think we are then, because I could see West Ham winning again this weekend because they just have so much momentum for the last weekend that then all of a sudden they are 5 points away from us being in 20th position. And the fact that Forest beat Fulham away from home, like that's a game that I could never see us doing, beating Fulham away from home right now with how we're playing. To be honest, guys, like I feel like I do want to beat City just so that I can make sure that we are just staying as far away from that 20th spot. Because right now,
Yeah.
the teams that are there, they just picked up results. I did not expect West Ham to absolutely dismantle Sunderland. I did not expect Forest to beat Fulham. It seems like they're getting in for that dogfight right now, and we're dropping points to Burnley right now. I'm deeply worried. I think we have to win against Man City.
Yeah, look, we can't be flirting with our relegation status. Like at the end of the day, we've got to go into this wanting to win. I don't want to hear anyone saying, oh, let's let City win so they can go and win the Premier League title. I would hope Man City and Guardiola have enough experience in the tank to be able to pick themselves up from a defeat to Tottenham Hotspur and go again. I don't want to hear anyone say, because we can't afford to be throwing away 3 points. We can't even beat fucking Burnley.
Yeah.
Not a win, no win since the middle of October. 13 games, no win. Bournemouth, 11 games, no win. West Ham, 10 games, no win. If we can't win them, we cannot take any game or any points for granted.
Exactly my point. Eddie, let's throw another question at you here, sir. Spurs, or I think we kind of already did answer 2 questions there, so let me throw this one at you. Do you think Spurs are struggling to sign any players right now? I know Tyler, plenty of people are just incensed by the idea that we haven't brought in any more players. Do you think that could be because we don't really know what the manager situation is like, and we could be bringing in an interim? Thomas Frank could be sacked any week for all we know. Do you think that's the reason they might be struggling to sign players right now?
It definitely it's a factor. I think the fact that Frank could be gone any day now. If he loses the City, he's probably is gone. Even a draw to City, he might be gone. Honestly, because we've just been that bad. Anything other than win against City, I can't see Frank staying in the job. If they do, then I just don't know what Vino's thinking. We're slipping closer and closer to the relegation zone. And honestly, if I was a player, I wouldn't want to go to Tottenham Hotspur to fight in a relegation fight. If I wouldn't want to go there unless it's actually a step up for where I was. For example, for Andy Robertson, I wouldn't go to Spurs. For Andy Robertson, I wouldn't go to Spurs, even if I'm not getting the game time. I just would be content in staying where I am at Liverpool to the end of my season and take my chances in free agent market. Because Andy Robertson has exceptional experience, exceptional leadership ability. He's captain of Scotland. I'm pretty certain, and he can go. I just easily see him going back to Scotland and playing for. I don't know if he's a Celtic or Rangers fan, but playing for one of those guys, and any other big talents that we're looking at. I just can't see them agreeing to come to Tottenham Hotspur at the moment unless we're willing to pay them a massive wage. And under this ownership and under what we've shown for the past 21 or so years, we just don't pay big wages, and we ain't gonna pay a good player a big wage to bring them to Tottenham Hotspur. So unfortunately, I just can't see us signing anyone. And if we do, it won't be someone. It won't be someone good. It'll be a body, but it won't be like someone amazing.
But the thing is, right, if the club can't come out and sign anyone, I don't want to hear excuses and PR bullshit put out through journals. Come out, release a statement, say you're struggling, and recall some of them loan players like your Mikey Moore, your Viskovic's, people like that. Is it the ideal solution? No. But will they help in the fight against relegation, with the amount of injuries we're picking up? You would like to think, they could contribute something. And if not, at this point, we have absolutely nothing to lose, So if they can't bring anyone back, I don't want to hear any excuses with the window shut and they're not doing that. Call some of them loans players back that are performing.
100%.
Well, I'm shocked that they haven't done Mikey Moore sooner, honestly, because he's doing well for Rangers, I'm pretty certain. And I'm just shocked he hasn't been called back to add a body to this forward line, because we lost Kudos. We need another winger. We should just be bringing back Mikey Moore and let him play, because he's a Spurs lad. He knows what it is to support this club. He would give his heart and soul for that team, and I would call him back instantly and put him right back into the first team to try and help this team stay up from relegation.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, thanks for getting us started, man. We have a very long list of people that we're going to have to speak to tonight, so I think you've started us off on the right sort of tone. So appreciate you, my man.
And you didn't bring up Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's a fair play. Hey, Dave did it. Eddie gets the trophy.
Well, everyone gets mad when I bring him up, so I'll just be quiet. I'll take my humble pie, and I'll eat in knowing that Ange is better than Frank, and that I was right in the end.
Very gentleman of you, like Eddie. What a gentleman this guy is. Thank you, man. Good to chat with you.
Yeah.
Get to next time, guys.
Have a good evening, sir.
Pick up to the Ed Meister. Got it. I think absolute pro. Got to start off right.
Yeah.
We're going to take these few comments here as people are piling in. Just want to say hello to Kate and Jimbo. Big up Dave and Jack. Literally in disbelief at how bad it is at Spurs right now and turbulent our season is becoming. We are in effing shambles. Appalling. She also said that even Jimbo has lost all hope. That's when you know it's bad. Jimbo, probably the thickest of all in terms of skin of all Spurs fans. It's absolutely crazy if he start to lose hope. Kate, dropkick your teacher, because unless you, we'll take that in just a second. And also big up to Logan THFC, who sent in heart emojis, and he's just saying, good evening, fellas. Big up as always. Thank you for your consistent support, by the way, Logan. Thanks for being here with us. And a beautiful profile pic.
You don't ever change the picture of that dog, by the way. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a model pose from the dog there. Dropkick your teacher, saying the positive PR, the lunches with Lenga and Vinay, just everything is pointing to Frank being 100% safe until the summer. It's almost just too late to sack him at this point, which is an interesting thought. And he's saying, because unless you bring in a positive figure like a Harry Redknapp, you put an interim in a really tough position. It's an interesting thought, Dave, that they've delayed the sacking so much that then you could be hurting yourself even more by bringing in an interim. That's almost like they double sabotage themselves.
I'm not. I get what Aris is saying, but like when you look around at Real Madrid, right? They had people they could rely on in and around the place. If not, they could have called Zidane back, people like that. You look at Man United, had a wealth of people they could rely on. You look at Chelsea, they have a sporting structure, so they could just pick who they wanted out of that structure, bring them in, people they can rely on. We have absolutely nobody out there that we can really rely on. Like people can say Tim Sherwood, Harry Redknapp. When was the last time they were in and around an elite sporting environment managing a team? A long, long time ago. So it's a huge gamble in that regard. You could look at someone like Mason, but, let's be fair. If you're an interim manager and you've got Kane and Son to rely on, how much are you really, contributing? How much are you just really relying on them to sort of drag you through the rest of the season? So the reality is we don't really have anybody that we can rely on. So we're sort of stuck in the position where I think, they are going to rely on Frank. But I also highlighted this weeks ago with Vinay. Look at what he's done with Arsenal. He's just rolling the exact same script out here again. Stick by him, even through tough times. We'll continue to try and back him. And hopefully I can produce what, Arsenal have produced. Guardiola, Arteta learned under one of the greatest managers ever in the game. And look at all the managers that go in under him. They all end up getting good jobs, top jobs, stuff like that. So it's clearly they're getting a wealth of experience and knowledge from it. Thomas Frank has never learned off anybody like that, ever. But I also think it's a case now where all three of them are sticking together. They're like, holy shit, we got ourselves in such a mess. How do we get ourselves out of it? And but this is, for me, it's just about the weak leadership right up at the very top. Coming into this January transfer window, they should have had a new director of football in there, knowing how much Johan Lang has fucked up in previous windows, failed to do so. They're sticking by Thomas Frank. Whereas, to be honest with you, they hid in years gone by behind Daniel Levy and Danny Lewis making them decisions. Now they're in the hot seat. They don't have the balls to make them decisions. It's a different ball game altogether. They used to be able to swanning around Tottenham. How are you getting on? No one having any grudges with them and everything else, because they just rock around, being nice people and stuff like that. They've never had to make them decisions. So spotlight's never been on them. And I think, to be honest with you, right now, by everyone sticking together, they're trying to give off the what's the right word? Maybe the air that maybe it's sort of like that they're everything's calm inside.
Yeah.
But it's not. And it's never been at Tottenham Hotspur. It's always been reactionary rather than proactive and stuff. And that's why we find ourselves here. But at the end of the day, realistic though, we can sit here and say, go on, get an intern. I hear Robbie Keane being thrown up. Anyone that thinks Robbie Keane's leaving a full-time paid job when they're in the next round of the Europa League or whatever it is, Europa Conference League, to come here for 6 months and then he's out on his ass, regardless of how well he does, think again.
Yeah.
We don't have anyone else we can rely on right now. We are up a creek without paddle.
I mean, he'd be coming in also just to be cleaning up a terrible, terrible mess. It doesn't really seem very attractive to what he might be doing right now with Ferencváros. So completely agree. Thank you for the support, by the way. Dropkick your teacher. And then also DB, good to see you in the house with us. Good to see you, DB. Appreciate your support, my friend. And then listen to Shawnee Maddox here. Everybody saying smash the like button. Big up to you, Sean. Do appreciate it. Simon Coley's joined the house as well. Big up to you, Simon. And then the one and only Dan Coys. Thanks for being here with us, Dan. Hopefully everything's good with you. We're going to keep the show moving, though. I anticipate it being a busy one. So if anybody is planning on coming on, feel free to do it now because this could be a good, long fan show.
Get the Magnus board ready, Simon. You could be called upon.
Let's get Mia in here.
Good evening, Mia.
Good evening, lads. How we doing?
How art thou?
Not too bad. I told you in the background, innit? When we were playing, I don't swear anymore. I'm so apathetic to it that even my youngest said to me, "You've given up all hope on Tottenham." So he knows. If I'm not even angry about it anymore, I'm just apathetic about it. That just shows everything because I'm like, whatever, man. Like we concede a goal, it's like, oh, okay, cool. That's what we're doing. It like that was, yeah. The game was just ridiculous, man. We should be going to Burnley with the intent of scoring more goals. And I've got to be honest, that first half, I don't actually think was on Frank. I think we had multiple opportunities to actually score. But I will say the second half was on him because he didn't make the changes. I saw with my eyes, 57 minutes in it was, maybe 56, 57 minutes. You could see they were getting leggy. Why not make a change? Why not?
I think they were losing belief in the game plan as well. You could see they were losing belief in the game plan going forward as the game was going on.
Yeah, because Romero started going up front. It was like, stuff this, I'm going up front. But my point is, Dave, that he should have done something sooner. And so I do think that second half was on him 100%. And I think that they're losing the will to want to play that because I don't blame them because I'm losing the will to watch it.
It's so boring.
I watch it purely out of loyalty to my club. I don't watch it to get enjoyment. I watch other football to get my enjoyment from football now. I don't actually enjoy it at all. I do it out of pure, like I say, loyalty and thinking I should watch it because it's Tottenham. And yeah, I should. And that's not good.
You're not the only one feeling like that. We do the pre-match build-ups, and nearly everybody at home watching, even the people on the panel, feel like they just owe it to Tottenham to be there rather than, buzzing and excited to give up time to be there and stuff like that, That's the way it's starting to feel. It almost feels like we're being forced to watch it, just for the love of the club rather than anything that's going on right now. But also, you mentioned it with the style of play. I mean, it's just so basic. There's no craft. There's no ingenuity to it. There's no patterns of play. Like, it's just out to the winger, pass it backwards, rotate it. Like, there's not even lay it off, spin in behind, put it in behind. There's none of that. Like, and that's even basic. You know what I mean? There's just nothing to it.
Do you know what this kind of football is? If you took somebody prisoner and you're going to torture them, make them watch this because this is the perfect thing to torture somebody. They'll be like, no.
Get me out.
Switch it off. Switch it off. I tell you whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
We'll give you
honestly,
the
that's
codes.
what that's what it's like. It's horrible. And I'm going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, but I tell you what, right? A lot of people slagged off leaving. I wasn't one of them. I was somebody who said that he did wrong, and I was always saying he did definitely do things wrong, and there was things that were negative about him. But I tell you what, man, I never ever was one of these people who said it was all him. I always said there's people above him. There's no way he gets to make the final decisions. And now people are saying, well, if we had Levy, Frank will be sacked by now. Well, yeah, he said
Do you agree with it,
His
John?
last.
Do you think
Pardon?
Levy sacked him?
Do you think he would have sacked him by now?
Yes, 100%, because he would have seen I think he would have seen that there was no way we're winning the Champions League, and he would have known that we're near to relegation. So I reckon 100% he would have done it.
How long ago do you think he would have done it? I know that's not an easy question.
I reckon. I do think the West Ham game, I think he would have saw that, and I think he would have not liked the negativity towards, because there's so much negativity in the actual fan base. I think hearing booing and stuff, I think he would have been like, oh, because he's done that before. He doesn't. So basically, all those people who said, "Oh, everything was Daniel Levy," pointing the finger, then the new ones come in and said, "Not us, it was all him." I mean, really? Look at what Vinay is, bloody useless. He's about as blooming useful as a chocolate teapot. The man. What is he doing? He's just egotistical. He thinks he got it right with Arteta, so now he thinks he's going to do the same with Frank, and he's going to get us bloody relegated. It's a joke, an absolute joke that they sacked somebody who won us a trophy for this. There's no better. It's no better. I'm sorry, but it ain't. I'm not saying that it was perfect with Ange, but this ain't no better. So what are we doing here? Why are we keeping him? Like, I don't understand.
They managed to hire someone to do even worse. Like, that's the impressive bit, is that they said we need someone that can compete on all competitions. They clearly set a high standard, but then they brought in a guy that has been incapable at all of doing what they asked him to do. But then he's not met any of the remit or any of the principles that they asked him to meet. And for some reason, they're showing impatience. It just doesn't make sense.
What annoys me is they timed their coup perfectly. The club couldn't have got any worse when they came in. Literally, all they had to do was make 2 or 3 right decisions, and they would have improved on the domestic campaign last year. And somehow they managed to make it worse. That's what annoys me. They came in when the club was on its knees, and they've somehow made it worse.
Yeah.
Joe, it's like, Dave, it's like the patients running the asylum. That's exactly what's happened. Like, honestly, they've come in at the worst time and then pointed the finger at Daniel Levy, saying that we're better, but they haven't actually done any better. They're allowing us to have a relegation battle, being beat by West Ham. Honestly, it's just crazy. Going to Burnley and drawing with Burnley. Like, what are we doing? And they don't see anything wrong with that. They just go, oh, well, it's all right. We're not going to sack him because, we're all friends. Our friends. Like, what the hell, man? What is, like, this ain't the club that I knew. Even when we've been in a mess in the past, it has never felt like this. It has never felt like this, I don't think.
Do you put any blame on the players at all, Mia?
Yes, 100%. There's definitely, like I said, in that first half of football, they should have done better to score. Like a billion percent. Xavi was all in the right places to score and didn't. He then was putting passes in that were either behind someone, in front of somebody, too hard, too soft. So, like, of course, they're paid to be, like, they're meant to be professional footballers, and they can't even do that right. And it is frustrating, and 100% they should be doing better. But I wonder if they're not putting in 100% because they just don't like the manager. And I know that's bad and they shouldn't do it. But if you're told by somebody who's really boring at work that you need to do this and this is what you need to achieve and these are the goals, and none of it makes any sense, are you really going to listen, or are you going to just tune out and be like, yeah, I'll do my bare minimal? And that's what it feels like. They're doing a bit of like the bare minimal.
Yeah. Do you know what? I wouldn't even argue. I think they are trying. I just think what they're being asked to do is just setting them up to fail, to be brutally honest with you. Like, everyone. Yeah. Everyone's, this, don't get me wrong. Some of the small passes we give away, highly frustrating. That's just a technical level. That's just a game understanding. But they're so void of confidence, lack of belief. That's where this stuff starts happening. Like all these players at this level can pass a ball 5-10 yards. But when you start hitting it undercooked and stuff like that, people are just scared now to make mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and I just don't think the tactics help. I think they are set
No.
up for failure. I think they're doing what they're being asked to do by a manager, because
Yeah.
everyone says just give more, but they can't just go rogue and break the tactics, because then they won't play.
No, I do get that. And I do think it was disappointing that he didn't stick with what he did at Dortmund, because I think that actually worked. That setup worked. And then he just changes it again. And you're just like, why? Why are we changing it again when that actually did work? That worked well. So, like, I don't get why he keeps changing it. And the players that do well, they don't get a second chance. They're just chucked to the wayside. Like, I know Dogie might not be able to play all the minutes, but why didn't he start? He was really good. Left on the left side, perfect. That's what we want. And when he come on, you saw how good he was. So I don't get why we didn't start with him. It's just like decision making, Dave, as well. I think the players are probably getting fed up with that, because they think, oh, I might do well, but I'm not going to get on the pitch. So what's the point? Like, what am I doing? Like, what's the point of even? Like, I can't be bothered. Not I can't be bothered, but no, like thinking disheartened is the word I would say. The players looked disheartened. Every time they walk onto that pitch, they don't look like they're ready for that fight. No, like, I know it's like maybe a bad example, because people are going to go, because Ange. But when we come out for that Europa League final, right, you could see that fire in their bellies, that look in their eyes, man. And that's what you want. Like, you want players to come out with that look in their eye, like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to smash it. And you could just see that, where they've lost that look in it. When you look at their faces, no one goes pans across them. They just don't know. They just look, disheartened. And I'm disheartened watching it. So I'm not surprised that they are, because they're thinking, this is rubbish. We're getting booed for playing these tactics, and this is the way he's telling us to play. And we're getting the flack for it as well. So they're probably getting fed up. And that's why Romero went, right, I'm going up front, because I'm going to actually try and score us a goal, because he's told us that we, basically to set up in this way, and I don't like it. So I'm going to try and score a goal. And that header, what a brilliant header from Romero. I know I'm just obviously biased in the fact that I like him.
No,
but that
everyone
was
questions his
good header.
captaincy. Everyone questioned his captaincy. This guy single-handedly kept Frank
3 and 3.
3 in his last
3,
2 against Newcastle to salvage a result,
Yeah, Van de Ven as well, by the looks
That's
of
one
things.
thing.
And Van de Ven,
Correct, was picking the captain.
I think people stick to Romero, Dave, because they've already got this bias thing in their head about him, because you hear the commentators doing it. As soon as he does a challenge, they're like, oh, that's very rash, or it is Romero, he's always rash. When someone else does it, they don't say the same thing. And I've seen that other players do exactly the same tackles as he does.
If Romero offered out a fan to fight like Mickey Van der Ven did, the fans would have went ballistic. With Mickey Van der Ven, it was just swept under a carpet, and all the excuses given to him.
Yeah, no, it's true. And obviously, again, I don't want to sound like obviously I'm majorly biased, but him in that black shirt, man. But yeah, that honestly, they are biased. People are very biased against Romero. And I always hear it. And people say that, oh, but this many times he did this. Well, that's not factually correct. Stop trying to say it like it's a fact, because that's not a fact. That's what you think, because your eyes are biased because you don't like him. So, like, I love that. I love the way he does things. I think it's brilliant. I love that he's a bit of a nutcase. He just goes in, like, that's what you want, a bit of passion, a bit of fire in someone's belly.
Well, we have some other people that might disagree with you that we have later on. I put in your channel a couple of times here. Please, everybody, do subscribe to Mia's channel, Tottenham Lone Wolf. And thank you, Mia. I promise
I'm not over there just being biased about Romero. I do criticise him as well. If he does things wrong, I do criticise him.
There are other things he talks
pretty
about.
fair. Yeah, apart from Romero. But if you want just Romero chat, then I'm here for that too.
All right. Thank you, man. Thanks for coming on. Great job as always.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you very much. Have a good evening.
And you guys, bye.
See ya. Bye.
Make sure you do get across and subscribe.
Please do, everybody. Great channel, great person. I'm a huge Romero fan as well, but in case you do disagree with what Mia has said there, like Eugene, feel free to do what Eugene has done and come on and join the line and have your chats with us. Of course, we're going to keep this moving, though, try to be as efficient as possible because I did anticipate this would be a busy one, and rightfully so. It's a good time for you guys to get your thoughts out there. Just want to say hello to Sean Hurl, AK Shags, and Paul Brown, and Lesser Known for joining us as well. Appreciate your guys' support as members of this channel. Let's go on to our next guest, which I believe is going to be Chris now. Mr. Frank Out, maybe the most Frank Out man you can find. Where is he? There he is.
Where is he? Good evening, Chris.
Hashtag get that fraud Frank out. Now, get him out. Get him out of our club. He's stinking up the place. Get him out.
Have you dragged us into a relegation battle, Chris? Do you think we're in one right now?
Well, Jack, looking at our next 5 fixtures, we're going down. I can't see us winning any of those games. Even the Fulham game, I'm looking at that. That's another 3 points down the drain. Dave, Frank is a disgrace.
Do you not believe he has the tactics and the know-how to be able to get us out of this? He's a tactician at the end of the day, Chris.
He's clueless. Absolutely clueless. Absolutely clueless. Now, I'm sorry. We should be beating West Ham at home. I told you, Dave, after the Borussia Dortmund game, I still wasn't convinced. Yeah? And he proved it yet again against Burnley. Yet again.
Was Frank at fault for the Burnley game?
Yeah. Second half, especially second half. Second half, sees the players are starting to go downhill, starting to slow down, getting tired. Waits till we're 2-1 down, then makes the substitution. Waited too long again. And this formation, what he's setting us up to play, does not make no sense. The players look confused.
Now that he's got a back 5?
He could have gone to a back 7. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Do you not think this team is more suited to a back 5, though? That's something we've heard over the last few years.
A lot of people.
Possibly, David, but it just looks like the players to me are just not interested in what Frank's telling them. They're doing their own thing, saying, we ain't going to make this formation makes no sense. We're going to do it our way. And when they do it their way, it seems to work. It's like they totally disregard what he's saying. Frank should have been sacked weeks ago, even before West Ham. Even before West Ham, he should have been gone. But for whatever reason, Vinny and Langer just want to keep hold of him, and they're just failing every step of the way. We ain't going to make. I don't think any more transfers are going to come in. There's nothing to be positive about. For me, we're in a relegation battle, and I can't see any way out.
So you don't think Frank is the man to steer us clear of the relegation battle, and you certainly don't think he has the pull to get in any more players. I know he rang up Conor Gallagher, the famous phone call man, to sway him over. You don't believe he has any more pull in that?
David, you've given Frank the keys to a Ferrari, and he's driving it like he's driving a Lada, blood. You know what I'm saying? He's driving it like a tractor, like a Model T Ford from the 1920s. You know what I'm saying? That's what's basically happened, David. You give him the keys to the car, the engine, but he stalled it, and there's nothing to be positive about.
Yeah, he's pouring water in the engine. That's what he's doing.
Basically, yeah. For me, David, I've lost all interested. Whether we win or lose, I'm not interested now because he's drained the fun out of the game for us. He's drained it. I wasn't surprised we dropped points against Burnley. Not at all.
Why do you think the media were so wildly wrong with Frank then? Because unanimously amongst the media, everyone was saying it was a great appointment, a very shrewd appointment by Tottenham Hotspur.
Do you know what? The media will spout any old crap to get a rating, to be fair, right? They said Ange was one of the worst managers Tottenham had, yet he won us a trophy.
Do you think the squad is as bad as Eugene says? He says we're driving a 2001 Honda. I will say, good car. Very reliable. Very reliable.
Yeah.
Honda Civics gets you mid-table. Honda gets you mid-table.
I like Honda Civics.
Yeah, they're very reliable cars.
No, Eugene, you're wrong, mate. It's the way the Frank's driving it is like a 1929 Ford Model T Ford, mate. But no, all seriousness, though, yeah. For me, there's no excitement in the games no more. There's no interest. I'm just sitting there watching like.
Is that down to tactics or the quality of the players, though?
Both. Did you know what? You can see the players are not interested, which is getting the fans' backs up. You can see the manager's clueless. That gets the fans back up. You could hear the fans singing on Saturday. They wanted Frank gone. And they were singing sideways and backwards all the time. And that's what we seem to be doing. Playing sideways, play backwards, play sideways, play backwards. It's like watching Harry Winks all over again.
Isn't it amazing, Chris, that the board is ignoring some of these shouts from the fan base, though? Like, they're hearing Spurs fans going back and forth with Burnley, like Burnley, where fans were cheering something like, you know, how on earth are we winning at home? Like, you must be terrible. And then they were saying,
I was saying we're used to it. We lose every week. We're used to it. Because we are. This is what the supporters have got to the stage now, Jack. This is where the fans are. And you blame them.
No.
You can't say they're wrong, because they're spending their hard-earned money. David, they're spending the hard-earned money traveling up to a shithole like Burnley, to watch that drab.
But what would you say to the players of Frank that constantly tell us we're wrong, for venting frustrations?
Frank, he's got a nerve, He had the audacity to comment about us finishing 17th place last season, and he's going to put us in a worse position. He's got a total nerve. Couldn't he not see he's actually destroying the club? He ain't made things better. He's made things 100 times worse. We need to get rid of that fraud out of the club. Hashtag get that fraud Frank out. And take Lang with him.
The driver's seat. Get him out of that Honda right now.
Take Lang with him. Funny, Villa are doing so much better without Langer now, weren't they? Funny that.
Mm-hmm.
They were celebrating his departure, Chris.
Oh, yeah. I'll be celebrating their departure. I'll pay for their Ubers if they want. I'll pay it myself. Get them as far away from Tottenham Hotspur as possible, because they've made us look like a really appalling bad team. And even Alan Shearer were not good enough. We weren't good enough to beat Burnley. What? We weren't lying.
If we were a Honda, Frank is Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean in his Mini,
Chris, do you think we're struggling to sign players right now because
the
players that we're interested in, they might not even know what the manager's future is?
It's not only that, they're looking at where we are in the league and thinking, why are we going to go to that place right now where I could be going into a European Champions League team or a team fighting to get there and not a team fighting to stay out of relegation? Why would they want to sign? Why? We were lucky to be going for Andy Robinson. It's only because he's a free transfer at the end of the season, and he's 32.
And the problem we've got is we can't take any gambles in the market because we've already got a massively overbloated squad, even with all the players we've got out on loan and stuff like that. So it's not like the club can bring in a guy, say, from Germany or Belgium or somewhere like that maybe people haven't heard too much about, and give him an opportunity to see if he can sort of save this football club. We have to bring in, with what limited space we've got left, is a certain player of a certain caliber, but none of them are going to sign on Tottenham right now.
Definitely not, David. And do you blame them? Do you really blame? Do you really? If you sit back and analyze it, do you really blame these players? I don't. If I was in that position and they asked me to sign, I'd be like, pass. Give me to another club. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to Tottenham.
It's just so unstable. The club is so unstable. It's beyond belief.
Well, David, I was watching something on Twitter the other day. A Tottenham fan confronted Vivian Lewis, right, about the state of the team and the way things are going. Do you know what? She totally ignored him and walked off. Didn't say a word to the fan. They ushered her off very quickly because the guy was saying, I spend nearly £2,400 a season on my season ticket. Yeah? What am I getting for that £2,400? Do you know what? She couldn't even answer. She just walked off very, very quickly. If the owners have got something to say, they need to come out and say it. They're hiding. They're in hiding. And Vinny is going to come out with a statement after the transfer window finishes. We tried. No, you didn't. We haven't seen nothing of trying. You should have sacked Frank long ago. Then you should have put players in that can actually help stabilise the club. But you haven't. He hasn't done nothing. Bought Conor Gallagher. Thanks. Bought Conor Gallagher. Thanks very much for that signing. But where's the striker? Where's the left back? Where's the goalkeeper?
Everyone says, well, I'm not being funny, but if you're...
Sorry, David, keep quiet.
If you're a forward player, you're not signing under Thomas Frank when you've watched Xavi Simons come here, not being able to
100%.
produce. Kudos, Colin Moani, who scored everywhere else he's been. Bar Tottenham Hotspur. You're not coming to play under Thomas Frank. Especially if you're watching our system. Because at the end of the day, as a forward player, you are judged on goals and assists. When things aren't going well, you're to blame. No one ever looks at the system sometimes or other factors that may contribute to it. It just solely you are to blame. And then all of a sudden it halts their career and they have to go back to the level they were at in order to try and rebuild it again. So as a forward player, you are not coming to sign under this guy.
Do you know, you wonder why Kudos burnt himself out? He was the one at the start of the season doing everything. Assists. Doing everything. Xavi Simons coming, he's going to take him a while to settle into the Premier League, yeah? Because he's coming from the German league, which is a slower pace and not as aggressive, yeah? We knew that from the start. Colin Moani, he's just not interested. He doesn't want to be at Tottenham. We know that. It was only because he had no choice to sign for us because he had no other club that wanted him. Now he wants to go. Let him go, fine. But, Dave, Frank he's ruined this club. He's literally between him, Lang, and Vinny and Lang have just totally destroyed the club. They're totally destroying everything.
100%.
Everything that Harry Redknapp, Martin Yole, Poch, all built from the ground up. They've single-handedly destroyed it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, Thomas Frank said we're an oil tanker, we're Titanic right now, to be brutally honest. The guy's absolutely making
an oil tanker.
Don't get me wrong, we're shit short the worst of times, but this guy is exasperating the problems. But Chris, we do got to keep
Dave,
moving.
The one thing I will say, Dave, the one thing I will say is I'm so pissed off with Frank, yeah. When I hear his press conferences, I have to turn it on mute because I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear his bullshit. It's like, did you? Oh, yeah, we drew the game, but we were better. If we were better, we would have won.
Yeah. No, I agree, Chris.
Yeah.
We have to keep things moving, though. But gold from you, as always, Mr. General, Mr. Frank out.
Brilliant.
Good to have you with us, sir. Appreciate you, as always, legend.
Hashtag get that fraud Frank out and support the lads.
Thank you, Chris. Very generous, man. Good to have you. Have a good rest of your evening, man.
Yeah, mate.
See you, boss.
I do agree with Chris on, I'm sick of him coming out going, tight game, I thought that one after the Burnley one, for large parts, it was a good performance. It's like, you're at Brentford. I can understand if you're saying that because there's no expectations on them. But at a club like Tottenham Hotspur, you are wildly so far wrong. It couldn't be any further from, any more truer. And it's just like when he's saying comments like that, it makes you even more concerned. About what's coming down the road. If he's saying this is a good performance, because if he's saying that in the press, you can guarantee he's following through with that in the dressing room, trying to build confidence. Guys, it wasn't too bad. And they're sitting there scratching their head going, please get this clueless idiot.
I think you cut out again there, Dave. But MJB saying, is Chris Frank out then? I'm not sure. Yeah.
You need to clarify next week.
Yeah, Chris, you're hiding your words too much there. Yeah. Dave will let you if you need to figure out the mic situation, but we'll keep this thing moving. Really appreciate everybody that's in here with us, and we're going to move on next to Jerome. What's up, Jerome?
What's up, Jack and Dave? How things?
Trying to make sense of whether in a relegation battle or not. Jerome, do you think we've fallen into one? And is Thomas Frank the one to get us out of it? Do you think we're actually in danger of getting relegated this season?
100% we are absolutely in danger of getting relegated. I told you guys, with that win with West Ham, it could have galvanized them, and just suddenly look at that. They beat, could it be? Oh yeah, Sunderland 3-1. I mean, they are on the ascendancy right now, and they might be catching up to us, and us, we're just losing games week after week after week after week. And that's what it is. There's nothing else to say, nothing more to say. We are in a fucking relegation battle right now. And even if we sack him right now and we say there's no one else, who are we going to put? He's second in charge. I can't even remember his name, Heitinga or whatever his name is. Yeah. He's going to get us relegated for sure. This guy is crap. He's as bad as Frank. I think he's even worse. He's the one that was at Ajax and made them lose 6-0 to AZ Alkmaar. The same fucker, but we just brought as a second for Frank. And we're saying Now, this kind of coaches and assistant coaches is what we're going to get us on top of the league. Absolute nonsense, man. Absolute bullshit nonsense. That club deserve everything that happens to them right now. If we go down, it's their fault. You sack a winning manager, you should be bringing another winning manager, not someone has never competed in the Champions League, never won anything in his career, and you bring shit here again. Always going backwards, always. Never can think of, we want a trophy. It's time to move forward. It's time to bring this club to the next level. It's time to do something. Yes, we lost 22 games last season. Okay, get rid of this guy, but we need to bring somebody else. We need to bring another winner. We need to make sure that we go forward. Not what do? We bring shit. And this is what we go. And all our fans was going, yeah, this guy's the one. He's better. Oh, finally we have a proper coach. Finally we're going to get someone who's going to get this team going forward. Finally we're going to get someone who's going to do something great. Absolute nonsense. Told you from the beginning, this guy's shit. Cannot do anything right. Since the start, from the beginning, we can see the football is not sustainable. Told you already, had to be from this point where we're nearly facing fucking relegation. This is not everybody goes, oh, Frank is shit. Frank out, Frank this, Frank this. But you know what? At the same time, you all deserve this because you were praising this nonsense from the beginning. I'm pissed, man. I'm really angry today because I can't stand that shit. From the start, I told you all, this is not sustainable. We cannot play this way with this kind of shit. And this is every time people are going, oh, you're emotional. Give him time. Give him time. He's going to be great. He's going to be great. He's going to do great. He's going to do so many things. Look at us now.
You could argue they have given him time, Jerome. We've given him enough time to drag himself into a relegation battle. That's how much time we've given him.
Absolute nonsense, man. Seriously.
Can't give him that much more
freaking
time.
relegation battle. And when I'm here, like shit like Rhino telling me, he needs to get free fucking pass.
This is what happens when you get a free pass, Jerome. Free pass, you might get relegated.
What I will say, Jerome, is, and I do air your frustrations. You have sort of stuck your neck out on the line, early on to say this isn't the right plan, this isn't the right guy and stuff. And you have been told a lot of things like, just you're too impatient, too emotional, give it time, this, that, and the other. So I do get the frustration. What I would say is, at the end of the day, as fans, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Don't get me wrong. I took abuse off them, but I don't blame the fans. At the end of the day, the people that we should be focusing on, even when Frank goes, is anyone who was involved in that decision making to bring him
100%.
in. When you look at the fixture schedule managing European football, they brought in a guy that's never had to manage a fixture schedule like it, or in Europe, any European football whatsoever. Then you take into account, this level of talent. Never managed this level of talent before, like your Meros, Van de Vens, and players like that. And so on and so on. Like, the way he plays football compared to the way Spurs fans want their football to be played and everything else. They should have all known it was heading this way. I'm a little fat leprechaun to most of the internet out here in Ireland that hasn't a clue about football. But I pre-warned what was fucking coming. So how can anyone inside the club, who it's their job to get paid on a daily basis to analyze football and try and predict outcomes with all the decisions they're making, how could they not see that this was going to be a huge and a strong possibility? It's absolutely mind-boggling. So I think they're the people that we should be frustrated at. They're the people we should be going after. At the end of the day, every fan is entitled to their opinion. They pay hundreds to support this football club, whether it's through going to the game, buying merch, watching it on TV and everything else. And at the end of the day, it's an emotive game. People are going to give their opinions. But the people that we should really be going after, because they want us in fighting. They want us in fighting in the fan base, by the way, because it takes attention away from them. The people we should be going after is the people that made this decision. Anyone involved in it need to fucking lose their jobs.
Yeah, 100%. It's just unbelievable, man. I can't believe this. It's like, seriously, do your homework.
Do you think Levy would have sacked him already, Jerome?
Levy would have got rid of him already. I'm telling you already. He would have been gone months ago. Months ago. He would have been gone already. As much as people can hate Daniel Levy, he understands us. He understands it. As soon as he hear the fan turning, he go, that's it. Pull
Almost
the
to his
plug.
skill, he
He's
could
not
read
the
the
one.
room a little bit. He knew like when the
Yeah,
pressure was
he
on
will read
him.
the
He
room.
knew when he was
He
under
knows.
scrutiny. Like he could read the room a little bit better than other people.
Because the thing is, we don't have anyone to turn to right now. We don't have anyone because every time we are in this situation, it's the chance that goes, we want Levy out. Levy out, Levy out, Levy out. It's always this, the big chance of Levy out. And this is when the board goes, okay, things are not great right now. But right now, we don't have no one to turn to apart from Thomas Frank. We got no one to turn to, no chance of going like Levy out or something like that. We're not going Vinay out, or I'm not hearing anything like that. It's just Thomas Frank right now. But seriously, this is ridiculous. You should have done your homework from the start. From the start. When you decided to sack Ange Postecoglou, you should have done your homework and look at Thomas Frank records in the league last season and just tell yourself, their stats from Ange to Frank is not different. It's not different. What are we bringing in here? Why are we bringing Thomas Frank to do what? It's going to be the same thing. We will not be able to compete. We will not be able to do things. And when Ange said we needed experience, then you give somebody else experienced players that's got no DNA, nothing in his, even an inch to say he's going to do something with Tottenham. And you bring someone like that. Again, where we are, yeah, I'm so frustrated I was going on the fans, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, definitely. No, it has to be this club that always disappoint. They always have to disappoint. No matter what we do, they will disappoint us. You win a trophy after 17 freaking long years, man, of waiting. And this is how you do it. You just go, well, good job. Wait another 17 years now. This is what we do. This is what we do. We go backwards all the time. Winning is not for us. This club is absolutely ridiculous, man. Ridiculous from top to bottom. We are a ridiculous club. We are not a well-run club at all. And this is what happens when your club cannot be run. We let Kane go. We haven't replaced him. Let Son go now, and we haven't replaced him. Goals dried out. Kulu is injured. Kudus is injured. Kulu, Matters, all of them. Goals dried out completely. We knew this. We knew it from the start. But those guys are the ones that contribute goals. Yes, we bought Javi. Yes, we bought Moani. Moani is somebody who's like, get out, man. From the start, your face teller told us you didn't want to be at Tottenham. Always moody, doesn't want to run, doesn't want to do anything. Why are you here? Why? If you don't want to be here, just say you want to leave and go back. Go back to where the hell you want to be. It's like bloody hell, man. It's like this was the Dortmund game. There was one run he needed to do. He could not be bothered running. It was Jet Spence that came back from the bottom, from back, and to get that ball back. He could not even run. Why are you here? Just get out. You don't want to be in this club? Get out, man. That's simple as that.
Just on
Yeah.
Just on a couple of things there. Look, I think you are right to clap back. Don't get me wrong. I clap back with the fans sometimes as well. You know, I think you're right, especially with some of the shit you've taken. But I'm just saying, in general, just, you know, after that, it's got to go towards the board. You know, we have to start directing it towards that and the decision makers inside the club. Not only that as well. You know, I also think on what you're saying there, Jerome, listening to you, before we let you go. You know, when you were speaking there, it's almost like the people inside the decision-making process made a decision like a fan rather than actually with any sort of football analysis around it. Because, you know, from a fan's point of view, it was like, bring in a guy that's a bit more pragmatic, keep clean sheets, we'll go and win games of football because we're scoring goals. But what they should have actually done is just sort of been like, well, if you look at Ange Postecoglou's system, it concedes too many, but this team is built to play on the front foot. So if we bring in a better manager with maybe just that better sort of, it's not as gung-ho, makes a couple of tweaks to it, we can be a really decent outfit. And I think that switch-up has drastically fucked them, to be brutally honest with you, you know, and I think they've completely misjudged it, you know, in terms of who they were bringing in here. There was no real football analysis around it, but I'm not surprised. They don't have any legends in and around the game that can feed them that information and stuff like that. They've exonerated nearly every single one of them. They're just listening to a lot of yes men up there. But Jerome, very passionate, which I do like, and it gives me a break from having to sort of berate and stuff like that, and share frustration. So I really do appreciate that, my man. And look, onwards and upwards. Hopefully we can win midweek and do something against you at the weekend. And I hope you have a good evening, my man.
Thanks. See you guys.
Appreciate you, Jerome. Legend.
Nice
Thanks, sir.
Brilliant calling.
See you. Okay,
Absolutely brilliant. Oh,
one after another. Everybody's
you can
giving
see
their
the anguish on the man's face. It hurts.
Yeah, no, just like Chris, though, he's hiding his opinions too much. I think Jerome there. Good to have you all with us, though, everybody. Again, if you want to come on, have your say, welcome to do so. We still have the link up there for you guys, but we do have about 3 or 4 people left. So in case you are still considering coming on, feel free to do so. Let's move this on to, I believe, the Dermatron.
Let's bring him on. Big up, Derma. Good evening. How are you, sir?
Broken, I would say. Very broken. And I've given up on the season already. It's done for me. I don't care what to do when. Dave, look, I am so fed up with Thomas Frank at the moment and the board. And it's not all Thomas Frank's fault. The board have to take responsibility as well.
100%.
They have to, and I understand what Jerome was saying, but I wish people would stop blaming the fans and saying this is what we deserve. I am sick to death of hearing that bullshit. We should be, as you said, Dave, we should be going against the manager and going against the board. Everyone has an opinion. But I am sick to death, and all this infighting, it's got to fucking stop. Because we're in real danger of going down here. In real danger of going down.
I would hope there is a realization now amongst, because let's be real, it was a unanimous sort of appointment amongst the fan base where there's a large clamor. A lot of people are sort of delighted with the appointment. I do hope that in that regard, we have sort of maybe learned from this lesson that it's not just as easy to take a guy that's performing miracles with a team like Brentford and transition it to a team like Tottenham and it's just going to work out. And I would hope that is a lesson that we have took from this moving forward, because it's something we tried with Nuno, and it didn't work.
Yeah. I think the fan base will. I don't think the club will learn. I think the fan base will learn from this. I think we all will learn from this. We'll all take little bits from it. And I think, but the board won't and the club won't. And it's kind of ironic that next year will be the 50th anniversary that we got relegated in 76, 77. And it is kind of ironic that 2 seasons before that, we flirted with relegation in 74, 75 and 75, 76. And then 76, 77, we went down.
Are you saying we're stuck in a time machine?
No, very funny. But I'm just saying, isn't it funny that last season I know we won a trophy, but league-wise we finished 17th. This year we're in a relegation battle. History's repeating itself, and that was down to the club not bringing in the right players and the club not back and switching managers every 2 seconds, and history repeats itself. We're going down so fast. We're going down like the Titanic. And there's nothing going to stop us. And I don't want us to get relegated. Of course I don't. If we got relegated, that'd break my heart if we got relegated. And what's it going to do? Our best players are going to leave and we're going to struggle in the championship. So all we've got to do is get it right now. I feel Paratici is sitting on his ass. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to Fiorentina in February. Why would he care? He doesn't care what happens to us. So he's sitting there thinking, I don't have to make a decision. I don't give a shit. You got Lang there saying, you're my countryman. You're my best friend. I'm going to keep you in here. I'm going to keep you in this job. You got Vinay going like, oh, we did this at Arsenal. This is a great idea, lads. It's like having Del Boy and Rodney and Uncle Albert running Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. You got Vinay as Del Boy. You got Lang as bloody Rodney. And you got Paratici's Uncle Albert. Everything he touches, it sinks. Well, Tottenham are sinking. And what the club doing about it? Nothing. What's the manager doing about it? Hasn't got a Scooby-Doo.
Have you lost all faith in Frank? Because I know you were one that sort of maybe had a little bit more faith than, say, someone like me did. I remember, a couple, one of the international breaks we were going into, you were sort of just saying to the likes of me, Jerome and Eugene, just give it a bit more time. Have you lost all faith in the guy now to be able to restore any sort of results?
I've lost all hope now. I'm done. I'm all done. And I'm the one. Look, I didn't want
when he's losing people that gave him a bit of leeway.
Yeah, I don't want I didn't want Ange to go in the first place. I loved Ange. And we backed him all last season to my detriment, to the abuse I got of other channels as well, because I supported Ange. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give Frank a go. I see what he's done at Brentford. Brings that to this squad. Okay, we may be onto something, but it hasn't worked out. And I think the problem is, lads, that the club are too slow to act. And now I think they've gone beyond the point of sacking him, where he has to stay in for the rest of the season. Because if you're sacking him now, it looks like a panic move. It looks like we're in panic stations. We're all running around. What do we do? It's like, as I said, it's like the Titanic. The captain there, everyone running around. How are we going to get off the ship? Well, Tottenham have gone, we've hit the iceberg, and now we're sinking. And there's no point sacking the manager. What's that going to solve? Are they going to, either we can get a bounce of a new manager, which it depends who we bring in, or if somebody, as Jerome says, if somebody takes in, it's going to go for quicker. So this club is in an absolute mess altogether. And I feel sorry for the likes of you and Jack that have firstly seen a bit of success, in a long while for you two. I've seen success. I've seen us win European trophies and FA Cups and League Cups. So
have I now.
Yeah, so have you. So look, so have you. But the thing is, I feel sorry for you guys. Because I went through the early 90s under Ozzy Ardiles when we nearly got relegated in 93, 94. We went to Oldham on the second last game of the season, won that to stay up. We were useless under Christian Gross. We were useless under Jerry Francis. We weren't that much better under George Graham. But I remember them dark times, and I thought I would never see them again. And what do? We're right back where we were under Ozzy Ardiles. So this club, I'm done.
Do you think there's any signings coming in between now and the end of the window to help try and salvage our season?
I wouldn't. I think the Robinson deal can still be salvaged. I think there's still talking going on between Liverpool and Tottenham. There is I did get a bit of an update actually on that today, actually, which I'm going tomorrow. Andy Robinson has fallen through, but they're going to try to restructure the deal. We're after a left back. We're after the Fulham left back Robinson, but it's a potential. We're after Luca Nays, the Borussia Mönchengladbach, another fullback, and
Luca Nets.
It's just load of rumours. Yeah, it's just load of rumours at the moment. That's all we're getting. There's nothing concrete.
No strikers or wingers on the list, Dermo?
No, nothing. And I will end with this, guys, because now you've got people in the background, and I'm sort of wary of that. We should be looking ahead to what we should have done after winning the Europa League. We didn't. We fell asleep at the wheel. And that's negligence. That is high negligence. That's high treason of running a football club. And if we don't get anyone in this January, which I don't think we will, then we're in serious problems.
Yeah.
We're in serious shit. We're not going to get. I agree with Jack when he said. I think Jack said. Did you say 4 points, Jack, for February? At the start of the show, was it 3?
We probably need at least 4 points to try to not all of a sudden sink ourselves down to West Ham, but we have 12 possible points in February.
I can't see us getting anything in February. Can't see us getting nothing. I can see it being a whitewash. And I never back my team to lose. You guys know me well enough now to know I never back Tottenham to lose. I'm always backing them through the good days and the bad days. Look, I support the cockerel. I support the club. At the moment, I don't support the manager, and the players need to take a hard, good look at themselves as well, because some of them could do with pulling their socks up as well.
Yeah.
And I think the whole thing's a shit show. Fair play to them away fans. Every game, going away, following Tottenham, up and down the country into Europe. Them away fans deserve a bloody medal.
Yeah.
They really do. And
deserve a refund.
They do. Tottenham deserve to pay them half the season tickets back. So we are I agree with Tony. We are the worst run football club. And I thought we were bad in the 90s. Everyone complains about Alan Sugar. Alan Sugar at least put his money into the football club. He saved us from relegation. He saved us from going out of business. what's Enoch done? They've done what they achieved to do. They came in and they said, we will get you the Champions League football. They did what they said they were going to do. They got us to the Champions League final. They fulfilled their objectives. Everything else they didn't give a shit about. But we'll keep going.
I have your channel in here. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. We keep fighting.
No, I cut you off there.
We keep going, we keep fighting, we keep supporting, we keep doing match day build-ups, we keep doing watch-alongs. We want let them drive us out of the football club. They can drive everyone else out, but one hell we won't go. We will stand and we will fight and we will survive and we will keep
What
going.
difference?
What
a different 7 minutes makes you. You came in here giving up on the club, and you've almost taught yourself being into pumped up to fight this battle. Absolutely love it, Dermo. But guys, make sure you do get across the Dermot's channel. Smash that subscribe button on THFC till we die. And Dermo, I'll speak to you again at some point this week, my man.
Yeah, I think we're doing a podcast this week, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grant. And then I'll see you. Jack, always nice to do a show with you too.
Thank you,
up
sir.
the good work.
Thanks for coming on.
Don't let Spurs get you down too bad.
Trying my best to rationalize the whole situation and make myself feel better, Dermatron. Appreciate you, brother.
No, see you later. Come on, you
have a good one.
Just listening to Dermo there, there's one thing when I was listening to him there that sort of sparked my mind. They came out with all these statements about intention, about wanting to restore this club back to its glory days. But we should have almost seen that was just always going to be lip service. You should have looked into the actual action, which was the appointment of the manager. They showed no ambition in the summer. They almost went for stability rather than actually using the Europa League to sort of really try and kick on. And that's one thing I was really annoyed about with the club in the summer, that they did show a lack of ambition in terms of the managerial appointment. And it just maybe shows that, and something that we try and keep reiterating over here. Stop looking at the words and listening to the words and actually start looking at the actions. It's all in the actions. And we almost should, because they hired Frank before they even start putting out a lot of these statements. So we should have almost seen it coming anyway. Let's keep it moving, Jack. We got this from Jerome as well. Jerome says, apology to everyone for letting my frustration out. None of you deserve this failure of a club. And look, Jerome, you don't actually need to apologize to anyone. I think where I was getting at with that is I think you're absolutely right to clap back. I mean, I do it as well at times, so it's a bit hypocritical to me to say you can't. But in times like this, we can't afford the infighting like we've seen before, because all it does is drive division and then takes the pressure off the ownership. Times like this is when, clap back and stuff, but then park it, now start putting it towards the owners. Once you start doing that, then hopefully, a lot of other people will follow you in that, Jerome. Big yourself up, my man. But you're dead right to clap back. Respect to you.
Yeah, 100%, Jerome.
I think it's weak if you don't. So fair play, Jerome.
No, I think Dave's right, though, by saying in times like this, it really doesn't do anyone any good to sort of infight when the attention should absolutely just be elsewhere at the end of the day. So thank you, Jerome. Do appreciate your support, and also do appreciate your passion and all the generosity that you do show this channel. Big up to you, Jerome, brother. It was a good heartfelt crash out, says Tyler. Definitely was.
Yeah.
Well said, T. But we are going to go on to our next few guests. We still have a few more to get through. So do show them a lot of love and support, everybody. They're taking the time out of their evenings and also being very patient and waiting one at a time to go. We're going to Ian Ferguson. Big Ferg.
Hey, guys.
Good to see you.
Ian's taking his snow day to have a chat with us during a blizzard. So thanks for being here with us, Ian. Man, we're in a relegation battle. Do you think we are in one?
I mean, I'm going to try to be as objective as I can here. We're just 3 weeks into the new year here. Whole lot of stuff can go right. A whole lot more stuff can go wrong here. I'm trying to be this eternal optimist here, so I fully believe things can get way, way worse. So relegation. I mean, I don't honestly, in my heart of hearts, probably not. Just because, I mean, the bottom three are going to implode even more. I'm not saying we're going to really hop on things here, but just looking at the standings, yesterday or something, I forget exactly how many points we are off, even top half. It's not a whole lot. Yeah. But the issue is that we win one here, draw one there, and then we lose our next three. That's the issue. Right. Yeah.
I think we're say 2 wins and probably get you back into top half of the table, but equally 2 defeats drags you down into the relegation zone.
Right.
Looking at it here.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's one of those like things, and I'm one of these folks. Finished 17th last year. If we finish top half, that's really the only expectation I have. Like it's like just like there's like certain parts of the fan base who are just thinking if we don't get like top 4, top 5, then this season's a complete like fail year. While I appreciate that, the drive and the ambition on that point, that's just not going to happen. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like being like as optimistically realistic as you can be. It's like look, like we say this every single year. The injury crisis is real. You can't do anything about that. And regardless of what sport it is, injury crisis, you can't always blame the head coach. Now, that being said, it's a lot easier to replace the head coach than the entire front office or just the entire squad, which sucks. As far as Frank goes, it's like I would say up until like probably like 3 weeks ago, I was completely fine with like just giving him the entire year here, regardless. It's like as long as we didn't finish like in the bottom 3, for me, I was fine. Just because like we can't keep replacing the coach every year and a half here, especially when we're just fundamentally going for like different, especially because like we're going with like fundamentally different philosophies with whoever we bring in. I mean, like we still have like a lot of players who would have been great for the 3 coaches back, but that's just not like the way it works. And yeah, like I completely blame the entire front freaking office here. It's like because they are the ones who shell out the cash, or more times than not don't shell out the cash, and then the fans are just completely rightfully frustrated with the lack of progress, and the easiest person to blame is the head coach. Now, also, I think with Frank, his pressers haven't exactly helped him that much, but then again, though, he's trying to put the best possible spin he can on what he knows is a completely shit situation here. And he's seen firsthand like what happens when you are brutally truthful with this front. It's like they will sack you just so they don't look like crap. But who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah. I certainly agree with you. I think one of the biggest problems at Tottenham Hotspur is, you know, we've lost our identity in terms of what we want to be on the football pitch, and it's not hard. All they have to do is look to the history, and you'll find your identity, you know, and try and incorporate that. But to your point, you know, from Pochettino, they switched to wildly defensive managers. Then they tried to revert and switch back to Ange. Now they're reverting and switching back to more pragmatism, and it's like we wouldn't see these ups and downs the way we do. If they had a style of football, then that makes your recruitment easier. You don't burn us through as many players as we do, or deem as many players as useless as we do. Then you also don't burn through the amount of managers that we do, especially if they hire some of the right coaches in behind the scenes, you know, to be able to help implement this and stuff like that. Like it's not a difficult thing for them to do, you know, but at Tottenham Hotspur it seems to be. But I think you're absolutely spot on with that. That is one of our biggest problems. Interesting to say that you're sort of giving up on Frank. You don't believe he can muster enough points to sort of steer us out of this?
I don't think I'm necessarily giving up on Frank. It's just that my expectation was never like he was going to fix all of our problems. And even if he did fix all of our problems, it wasn't going to be in 1 year. Like the fact that like, and yeah, like it could have been just because, you know, under Poch things were really, really good. And under Ange, especially for that first half of that first year, things were just really good. And as someone who has grown up supporting teams that have always been crap, or at least for the majority of my life have always been crap, I guess I really don't have like that expectation of like things are going to run well. like now that being said, though, I do appreciate it when things do go well, because it just never happens. But I think Frank, he hasn't been done any favors here with this front office being the front office. Now, that being said though, what Levy was sacked, like 2-3 weeks before the end of the summer transfer window, right? So I'm not saying if he had been like completely sacked like at the beginning of it, the front office was going to do anything fundamentally new. But this is also like the first full transfer window without Daniel Levy in the office here. So whether this is the smart thing or not, I don't really care, because I'm not running this squad. Like it's just like he has to be given the year, if for nothing else. Who else is there? I would definitely be completely for Poch returning, just because like the World Cup will be over by the time that the season ends. So there's that. And yeah, like I do think Poch definitely buys you some more time. Plus, also just his track record with working with a lot of like youth here helps a lot.
Yeah.
Now that being said, though, with all of the youth we have, though, we hardly play any of them, and nor should you always play them. But if you're going to be doing just crap like this, at least play the kids. It's like how many folks do we have out on loan who have spent their entire who have spent their entire time at Spurs on loan, right?
Well, why do we keep buying so many young players if we don't seem to have any intention of playing them?
Right.
That's the confusing bit, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like it just sucks because like it's no one single person's fault. It's just a complete, just perfect storm of crap that just seems to be hitting us and us alone. Like it's like
Yeah.
now I think also part of the issue is too, though, our expectations are just way too high. Like if you're expecting to be like competing for like Europe at this point, you're begging to be lied to. I'm not saying we shouldn't have like high ambitions or not, but like just realize where we are.
Do you think, though, in the beginning of the season, most people's ambitions were to be, which is a lot lower than it was in recent years, but a lot of people are saying, I'll settle for 7th, 8th, 9th this season. I remember hearing that from a lot of people, and I don't think that that's too high of ambitions, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. It's like, and I was one of those folks who, at least on the onset of the year, if we finish top half, I'll be thrilled. And of course, if we finish higher than that, I'm not going to be sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it's like we have to recognize where we are, and that's not exactly lowering expectations or just not being ambitious enough. It's like, to know you have an issue is fine, but you also have to know, though, how large and where you are too at the same time. Like it just sucks.
Yeah.
No, I agree with Ian. Well, man, you've
Very well
covered a
spoken.
lot of stuff here, and to be
Yeah.
fair to you, it's like you haven't been gone at all, because honestly, you got a lot out. To be fair to you, Dave Dave and I didn't even have to ask many questions. So fair play to you, man. Fair play.
Right. Yeah.
Very well articulated as well, Ian.
Thanks. It's like I was wondering actually when the last time I was on here. It may have been a year.
Yeah, I hope for
Jeff
more
was going to
stuff.
say that a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. Yeah.
It's good to see you back.
Thanks, Ian.
You're looking healthy as well, by the way. You're looking good, man.
I've lost some with the weight. For those of you who didn't know, I got married back in July, so that's always good. So yeah.
That's motivation.
Nice.
You look like you still fit the suit by the looks of things. So fair play. Well done. Good man.
You're looking great, man. Hopefully, it won't be another year before we see you again, Ian.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your support, by the way, too. You've been with us for a long time, Mr. Ferguson. I appreciate you, man.
You enjoy your
enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the snow day.
A good foot and a half out
too much
there.
now.
So much fun out here. Yeah.
Now we're
all right, guys.
Thanks, Ian. Great job, by the way. Great job. See ya.
Great to see him back. He's looking good, man. He's
He's
at
looking good.
what are they called? An up glow or whatever it is. Glow up. That's what it
I
is.
feel like we asked him like 1 or 2 questions. He just, covered everything with Spurs in the case of like 8 minutes. I'm like, damn, fair play.
That's what this
Sometimes I
club
wish
does
I
to
had
you,
that
though,
in me.
Jack. There's so many problems.
Yeah, where do you start?
Yeah.
Fair play to Ian. Great job. Great calling. Chris from earlier saying, Dave and Jack, normally, I like to laugh and joke when I come out, but in all seriousness, I've lost a passion for this club and team. 2 things on that, Chris. I do feel like even when you're trying not to be funny, you do end up always saying something absolutely hilarious. Even when you're pissed off, I think a lot of people just enjoy you. Just have that natural comedic bone in you, Chris. But I understand, man. Like, I think with where Spurs are at right now, it's hard to watch so many seasons where you feel like halfway through the season's over. Like, we should not be one of those clubs where by January you're kind of feeling like, yeah, there's really nothing left to be played for here. Like, what's really the point of watching the rest of the season? And we've had far too many of those now. It's happened too often where we kind of are already giving up on the rest of the season of anything good happening, anything to look forward to. You should always have something still to be playing for. And I guess that's what made last season somewhat special, and that we just knew that there's this good chance that we can go far in this Europa League tournament. And I'm not sure how far we can actually realistically make it in the Champions League, but this season feels like it's coming to an end very quickly.
Well,
and I think that always will take passion out of any fan, really.
Of course it will. Look, my whole lifetime, I haven't been down in this situation. You know what I mean? I've been one of the unfortunate ones. I've never seen this club get relegated, and it's something that I take great pride in. Even 2 times of turmoil in the Premier League, it's like, well, I still get to watch my team on the biggest stage week in, week out. How many other teams have fallen down to the Championship sporadically getting to watch games because TV doesn't cover it and shit like that? And I get it. But Chris, at times like this, you turn to 2 things. You either turn to humor just to forget about absolutely everything, or you turn to frustration so that you can just get it all off your chest. But I think you combine the 2 perfectly. Big up, Chris. Good to see you back on being a regular again, my man.
Yes, I love how he says he's one of the only people that says David instead of Dave. That is true.
No one else calls me that by my parents either. When they say that, it usually means I'm in trouble. When Chris says that, I feel like I'm in trouble.
Chris David, he has to come in straight away. Big up to him. Absolute legend. And Ian, like I said, great call-in. We are going to go to next. Just make sure we have 2 guests left. So do save your time for them, please, everybody. 2 very good guests, might I say, as well. So we're definitely finishing strong here. We're going to Eugene, and then we're finishing off with Rhino.
Leads are 1 up. Oh, my Lord. Thanks for that drop kick. Your teacher, how to brighten my day.
Yeah, Eugene. Heard around the ground. Leads are up. We're definitely being dragged into the relegation battle. They're about to pass us if they win. Crazy.
Hey, good to be on with you guys.
Yeah, man, good to have you back.
It's been a while. I came in peace initially, but then I heard Mia's call, and then my anger, I got triggered. But
what's triggering you more? Comments about Romero, or where we're at as a football club in the relegation battle?
The football club, Frank, I'm tired of all this discussion. I mean,
everything. Yeah.
As you guys know, Jerome, me, and Dave, we were on this Frank thing in the beginning of the seasons when we were getting results, when we were scumbagging points. So whatever everybody's seeing right now, I saw early on. So I'm really bored talking about it. It's funny. Like I don't get as angry anymore. Usually my son and I used to wake up early at like 5 a.m., watch games live. The funny thing is the West Ham game, I'm like, you know what? I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. anymore. I'm just going to record the games and I'm going to watch. I woke up at like 8 or 9, got some good sleep. I'm like, cool, I'll watch the game on replay. I turned the game on, but instead of starting from the beginning, it was at the very end. I turn on the TV. I see 96th minute, down to 1. I turn it off. Cool. I saved myself 2 hours of aggravation and anger. And I went on with my day, and I was much happier than sitting through that game. So that's, that was one positive.
That is very sad to hear, though. Actually, in terms of like,
it's terrible.
Because my father used to do the same with me, drag me to watch games and stuff like that. And it is a bond that you share, and it is sad to see that being taken away from people, really.
Oh, it's terrible. But look, I just want to touch on, like, I don't want to talk about tactics and our lack of scoring goals. That's obvious. My issue is, and I think the biggest issue at the club, and that comes from the board, from management, and from the fans, is the accountability. Accountability is lacking, and that's leading to all our issues, I believe. With Frank, forget the tactics. When he let Spence and Van der Ven walk off and ignore him without anybody being benched for the next game and punished, I'm like, okay, he's done.
Yeah.
Forget the tactics. Forget him unable to inspire anyone. If you do not hold your players accountable, especially if you don't hold your best players accountable, it's easy to bench Tell and Odegaard. It's very easy. It's very difficult to bench your best players and send a message.
Yeah.
The best coaches, they would take an L short term to make a point and say, I'm not going to tolerate it from my best players.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the club, the rest of the team sees that and they fall in line. You need a manager with big balls to make tough decisions. And now we have our board. Vinay is afraid to make tough decisions. He's waffling on Frank. Frank is afraid to make tough decisions, whether it's tactics or lineups. And also the fans. Like, we're so starved for good players in our club. We're so starved for next Kane or Sonny. It's very easy for the fans to boo Davidson Sanchez back in the day, or Tell, or Odegaard, or Archie Gray. It's very easy. However, Romero, our best player, I know, Dave, we're going to get into it, but our best players always get a pass only because fans are starved for top players. Romero, and you and I have been talking about it for the second year now. Last season, I saw the same thing. Romero, like, you can talk about Frank's inability to coach attack, but Frank is a decent defensive coach. With our quality of defending, when I watch Romero run around like a chicken without his head, there is no shape, right? There is, as a defender, again, I'm looking back at previous captains on good teams, on winning teams, like John Terry, Van Dijk. I never seen a captain speak like Romero, not take responsibility like him, and just not commanding the back line. The goals we're giving up are a joke. 2 goals against Burnley. I tell you, right? Every other game, Romero is responsible for the goals. Yes, we cannot score. Our front line is championship level, but we should not be giving up 2 goals a game to likes of Burnley's. And those goals come from the same mistakes we've seen last season. We don't have high line anymore. We don't have suicidal tactics. We play mid to low block, and still we make the same mistakes. I have never seen a player who wins every header in the attacking third, but loses every header in his own box. Romero scores every time when he's in opponent's box. In our own box, he loses every header. Like Jack knows in American sports, we call it fake hustle. He runs around, he hits somebody just so people go, oh, he's doing something. To me, that's fake hustle. It's brain dead.
Do you not argue the same for Van de Ven though? But I do understand what you're saying about Romero, and I think you do make a great point that sometimes, maybe I am guilty of protecting our better players, but that's because I know if they go, the hole's only going to get even worse. I know they're not perfect, but it's going to get even worse. But where I sort of find myself sticking up for Romero is I feel like Van de Ven gets much more of a leeway for things like that than what Romero does, and I don't think it's fair. If you're going to judge Romero like that, you got to judge Van de Ven like that too.
I agree. I'm talking about the whole back line. Pedro Porro especially, he's also had a terrible season in my book. Again, the reason why I'm singling out Romero, as I told you before, is because I have very high hopes for him. He's a top player in his day. He's a World Cup winner. He's supposed to be our leader, and he's a captain. I hold him to a different standard than even Van der Ven, who I would argue is a better player right now. As a captain, you have more responsibility, right? You're supposed to come out after a loss and talk to the press, not send Vicario every single time. You're supposed to talk. And when he does talk, he throws the blame onto the board and everybody else. I'm not saying he's wrong, he's right. But the first thing you got to do as a leader is take responsibility. I have never once seen him talk about himself and say, I give up. I cost us every single game for the last 2 years. So yes, I might be harsh on him, but as a manager, as a fan base, we need to hold our best players responsible and accountable, and not just Tells and Davidson Sanchez's and Archie Grays. That's easy. And until we hold those players accountable, the club is gonna be in the free fall like it is. We're gonna
Do you
sign
think
another fan favorite top, player, and then they're gonna do whatever they want to do. I remember Roy Keane said, if players in the dressing room need motivation from a manager, they will never win. And our players, they get up for big games, right? They can get up for the final, they get up for Europe, but on Burnley's, West Ham's, they do not get up. And that's the best players.
But
And
equally,
that's
if you
why
have
it's
no
not even about
motivation,
kind of
but equally, if you have no motivation to put things right or achieve something, to help a manager out, then you're never going to win games either, though, right?
No, I agree. And again, like we all know the issues with Frank, and I know again he cannot motivate, but certain players like Romero is a coach on the field, on the pitch.
Mm.
The least he can do, honestly, I do not care about him scoring goals. It looks great. I want him to defend. That's his job, right? I don't want him to score one time, like one goal, and give up two on the other end. I want our defenders to defend. And then we can all look at our defense saying, you know what, our defense is great. Our issue is like in the attack and midfield. Right now,
Do you know what our big problem is across the back line, Eugene? And I don't know whether you agree or not. But I think a lot of some of the stuff we're seeing is easily sorted out with just communication. And I do think that is one area of Romero's game that is really lacking. Like that goal against Burnley. If you just have one, if you just have one player calling that line, stick with me. If I drop, you drop. If I stay, you stay. That goal doesn't happen. Even if he drops and everyone else drops with him and he's called that goal doesn't happen because we're challenging that header. One of our biggest problems is, and you brought it up there, when you brought up John Terry, you brought up like even Ledley King at Tottenham, you brought up, you look at Roy Keane at Man United, players like that. Communication. Van Dijk for Liverpool. You always see him communicating, especially under Klopp, with the people around him, even to his midfielders at time. Look, you need to tuck in for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I think that's one big thing that lacks on the pitch, especially, which actually leads to a lot of our defensive problems.
Yeah, no, I agree 1000%. And like the thing that I hate the most is deflection of responsibility and hypocrisy. When I see Vicario give up, like terrible goal, and then he points at others, I get angry. That's on him. When Romero is running around and trying to score a goal, and then we get hit on the counter and he's looking around, I'm like, no, do not look around. It's on you. Even if your man didn't score, you're the captain of the back line. You got to be talking to Porro, to Van der Ven, to Doggy, whoever else. It's your job to organize the back line. Do not look around. Why were you in the final third in the attacking zone? Again, I know we might be down, I know, but your job is not to improvise. Your job is to defend. And again, I personally, I really feel like teams go as far as their best players take them. And I believe, yes, our quality is not good, not even close to being good. But our best players are so inconsistent, and they just do not, I don't know if we want to say what I be here. They're not fussed.
I do hear
And
what you're saying, right? But I remember Roy, and this is one thing that Roy Keane said that stands out. As good as him and his crew were at Man United, they had players that could come in and relieve them at times. They had players that when they were injured, they could step in and fill a void. So I do get what you're saying, but your best players will only take you so far. You do need, in a team sport, other people to sort of step up on their day. Because best players in the world, everyone has an off day. But that's when you need someone else to step up and take the reins. And we don't have that at Tottenham. If Mickey Van der Ven and Romero don't score up the other end, we ain't scoring.
Oh, I know. That's terrible. Yeah. And I agree. Like, our attack is the worst I have ever seen in my 15 years of watching Spurs. However, having said that, there is no excuse why we should be giving up to West Ham, or I don't know.
I agree.
We got and to Burnley. Like those teams that we're losing to and dropping points to, even if we cannot score, there is no reason why we should be giving up as many chances and as many goals. Because in the beginning of the season, people were saying, "Oh, look, we're getting results. They're not scoring." Like, no, we were giving up the same chances. Just the teams were not putting them away. So, like I said, I'm bored talking about Frank. Like, we all know, we can all see that he's not good enough. But the issue of the club is Vinay and the board are afraid to make a tough decision. You can say, like I think Jerome was talking about, we can say all we want about Levy, and I was as Levy out as anybody else. But he was not afraid to make a tough decision and be a bad guy.
Yeah.
But Vinay now, he is afraid to make that tough decision. Frank is afraid
to be wrong, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, this season is a write-off. Like, we're not going to win anything. We're going nowhere. If I was Frank, I would bench Romero, I would bench Van der Ven, I would bench Porro and say, hey, you're not pulling your weight. I don't care if you're the best players. I'm going to give the youngsters a chance. And if I would see that, I would be like, oh, Frank has something about him. Frank has got the balls to actually make a tough decision, win or lose. Like, for me, again, like I look at the big picture. I never look at one game at a time. I want a philosophy of the club. I want a manager who makes tough decisions. But Frank, he's just weak to me. He's a weak leader, and players are taking advantage of that.
There's nothing worse than a manager that keeps putting out the same players, even though they're letting them down every time. At what point do you sort of look to change it? Even if it's not the best circumstances, at what point do you look to sort of craft something a bit different? And I agree with you. I think it goes back to he didn't hold Mickey Van der Ven or Jed Spence accountable, when they ignored him against Chelsea. But when he's already made the statement with Basuma, then you've got to follow through that with a Van der Ven and a Spence, and you didn't. So you sort of lose all credibility in the dressing room. You're absolutely spot on. But Jerome, really good call today,
Eugene.
Really appreciate it. Or Eugene,
That's
sorry,
right.
really
I'll
good
take the
call
compliment.
today. Yeah, it is a compliment. We were the tree, but I feel like we're like a band of brothers, fighting against the tide from the very beginning, my man. But no, really good call today. It's good to see you back around here. And look,
good talk to you, boys. Thank you.
Hopefully we can fucking kick on and find some sort of consistency soon, my man, because it's killing everybody. And I hate the fact that it's killing you getting up with the young lad watching the games and stuff like that. Because there are memories I had with my dad, and I'll never forget them.
By the way, one flex, I think somebody said, the good thing that I'm not a coach. Actually, I'm a coach. My team got second in the state, my under 11s. So maybe I should be the next Tottenham.
You're a big state as
manager.
well.
There you
Very
go.
impressive.
Hey. Yeah, so
get the CV
Yeah,
in.
yeah, we're looking for interims, Eugene.
Small flex, yeah, exactly. In
case you're willing to take a 6-month contract. Big up, Eugene.
Big up, Eugene. Have a good
Thanks for
day,
coming
sir.
on.
Thank you for your time, my man.
Have a good night.
Absolutely great to see Eugene back around. Really good call, actually. Really enjoy listening to what Eugene has to say.
Good thing Eugene isn't a coach, and then he says, I am. Well, it looks like he might take a 6-month contract. Just a little sabbatical over to London. And then we have Sean Hurl from earlier. Big up, Sean. Good to have you with us, my man. Saying Frankenlange, Danish Tweedledum, and Tweedledummer. Which one's the dumber one? Sean, curious if you can elaborate on that. At the moment, it looks like Johan Lange might be the dumbest of them, because this guy has just continued to only buy the same type of player, isn't capable of bringing in top quality players to bring in. And I'm just amazed, to be honest, Sean, especially Alistair Gold. Anytime I listen to him, he seems to defend Johan Lange far more than he ever did Paratici. He likes to throw Paratici under the bus. But Johan Lange, he spent more money than I believe Paratici ever did at the football club in a similar amount of time. And Johan Lange has brought in a lot of talented young players, don't get me wrong. But which of his signings have really taken over this team and have actually progressed us in the way that we want to?
In effect,
I'm surprised. Johan Lange gets such a pass from people. I'm amazed sometimes.
Well, he's been lucky the fact that Paratici has come back, and it's sort of overshadowed people actually looking at the work he's done when Paratici couldn't have his hands on the transfer window. Like he set up Ange Postecoglou spectacularly to fail at this club with the signings he was making. It was never going to work heading into the second season. Off the back of finishing fifth, and you're bringing in guys from the Championship, from the Swedish First Division, and people on the periphery of squads. It set the guy up for failure. But because Ange talked himself into being hated by the majority of the fan base, everyone underneath him got a free pass. Absolutely everybody. And it's only now we're seeing, now that Frank is coming in, it's a guy that was unanimously people were happy with, and some of the same shit still going wrong. It's only now it's being highlighted. But look, once Paratici walks away, there's nowhere to hide for Johan Lang. But to be honest with you, I just don't want him here next summer. If he's here next summer, I might have to do my own protest, chain myself to the training gates and say no one's allowed in here to train until Johan Lang is gone. So if anyone wants to start supporting that, let me know and we'll try and make it happen between myself and Jack. We can do it on rotation. But look, we are down to the final guest of the evening, guys. And it is the one and only Frank till the end of the season, no matter what. Although I did change last week.
Frank don't give a damn.
Yeah, Frank don't give a damn. Frank don't make a difference. Let's bring him in, Rhino. Good to see you, sir.
Hello.
Come on, crack a smile for us, man. I know it's bleak, but come on, crack a smile.
Give us a wave.
No, I'm sick and tired of all this now, to be honest. I'm sick and tired. Screw
what are you
the
sick
board.
and tired of?
Screw the board. Screw everything. Get out of my club. Simple as. I'm done with it. I'm
Everyone
absolutely done with it.
Screw Kim Kardashian.
Everyone out. Players out. Frank out. Board out.
Just get the board out, man, because they're fucking stupid. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. And Jerome, right, saying that, says to me, yeah, right. Oh well, I should be. I'm getting abuse off of Jerome. Like I don't know if anyone saw in the back that I was getting abuse off of Jerome. Well, Jerome, do you know what, mate? Right? I don't really care about your opinion, mate. I really don't. Your opinion is nothing to me, mate. Simple. I'm sorry, but
I'm looking at it here. I'll have to look in great detail, but I don't think he's abusing you. I think he's just disagreeing with what you have to say or something. But I don't think there's any abuse there anyway.
Absolutely stupid, right? And then saying that I'm a flip-flop. Well, you're the biggest flip-flop out there. Simple. If I'm a flip-flop, so are you, Jerome. Simple.
Anyway.
But no, this board though, right? This board, yeah, right? This board are absolutely a joke, man. I said this to Dermo the other day, right? And I won't go and say exactly what I said. If you want to go and see what I said and put in a message on Dermo's Dave, then you'll be able to see it on his after the whistle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you was even in it or not, or if you even saw it. But if you haven't, I won't repeat it.
If it was after the Burnley game, I didn't watch anything. I went to bed like a child.
Well, let's just say even at 9 o'clock, yeah, right. I can't even say it. It was that bad. What I think of this balls.
Where do you think? Let's maybe ask a different question. I know in general what you think of the board. We speak quite often, to be fair. Where do you think the board are going wrong? What decisions are they making wrong that frustrates you?
They're not bringing in the players that we need. This is what I said. I said like I said, right. Once I knew Levy had gone right, then I said I'm only going to give this board one window to see if they can fucking change the thing. And it is 9 o'clock now, Dave. So don't worry, it's 9 o'clock, so I can go
just
more down.
It's on the button.
Yeah.
It's your own imposed
rule. When did that rule come about?
It's your own imposed rule anyway on that one right now. But I agree with the frustration around the transfers. But do you think part of the reason why we can't get the transfers in is because nobody wants... Look, there's obviously a massive part of it where they look at Tottenham and it's sort of like, even if I'm a player on the rise, why would I want that as my next move? There's other clubs they could go to. But do you think there's a part of it that, especially forward players, that don't want to come and play for Thomas Frank?
I don't believe that, Dave. Right? I don't want to be going around quoting people, but if I remember rightly, right? If I remember someone saying the other day, it's not Frank that hasn't got the pull. It's the board that haven't got the ambition.
Well, I get what you're saying, but, Conte was able to get on the phone to the likes of Perisic and all, pull him in. Andrew was able to get on. We were told how famous his phone call was to get in the likes of Madison and players like that. So I think it's a fair question to ask because, don't get me wrong, there will be a pool of players out there that look at the club and don't see it as their ideal next step, right? 100% get that. But you don't think there's 4 players looking at what he's got out of Mawani, Simmons, Kudus, and players like that and gone, well, he's not going to enhance my career? Because I can tell you, there's definitely a part of it.
See, mate, this is where it just gets to the point, to the point where everything goes just tits up, mate. Like it's a shit show from the top to the bottom. It's a shit show. I'm sorry, it's an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
Right? And when it comes to a shit show like this, who's gonna sit there and who's gonna want to come? But not just that, yeah, right? A wise man once said to me, yeah, right? It's not the person who's in charge at the helm that's going to that should have the pull. It's the board, and the board haven't got the bloody ambition to do it. And I'm sorry, but it takes the piss, mate. It really does. The board have got no ambition at this club. All they care about, yeah, right, is one thing and one thing only: how much money can they take out of this club? And I am absolutely sick to the back teeth, to the front teeth, to the left tooth, to the right tooth, to the too close to the knuckle kind of thing, mate. I really am. And it's got to the point where this board are the problem.
I agree, ultimately. I agree, ultimately,
here,
they're the biggest problem. Like, you know, a lot of their decision making is shocking. Like I said earlier on in the show, anyone involved with bringing in Frank and thought it was a good idea and ignored certain things like the age of the squad and the fact that he didn't have an academy at Brentford, stuff like that. You know, it's all them little things that they should have seen coming. They're like, these are people that are paid within footballing to make footballing decisions and try and predict outcomes and make your decisions best off, you know, based on what you see coming. The fact that none of them seen that coming and they all sat around fucking ticking the box going, this is a great idea and everything else. Every single one of them should go. Every single one should go. So ultimately, I do agree with you that at board level and stuff like that, they're ultimately responsible for a lot of decision making. They put these people in place. But do you not think it's fair to say that Frank isn't exactly helping the situation? And what I mean by that is, right, you have a certain caliber of manager at this club like Conte or Jose. They didn't have perfect squads. Everyone says they had Kane and Son. Yeah, they didn't have the back line. Yeah. They didn't have a midfield and stuff like that. It was absolutely decimated. But the reality is they were able to mask over the problems with their experience, their know-how, their craft, stuff like that. You look at Thomas Frank. He doesn't know how to mask over anything. You know, and I do firmly believe, even though we are a shit show of a club, and I truly encourage everybody, when Frank is gone, don't stop at Frank. Don't let a new manager coming in stop you going after that board. They need to be held accountable. And if you want the next guy to succeed, you've got to keep the pressure on these fuckers. You know, at the end of the day, it's just about helping the next guy beyond that. But Frank does have to take some level of accountability here. He's making it worse.
Look, let me just put this here, right? I want to put this out there, right? The next manager we get in, I'm not having an opinion on. I am not having an opinion on the next manager.
Why?
Because that's my choice. Because all I'm seeming to get from the
people like Jerome,
no, right? Because people like Jerome, yeah, right, call me a flaming flip-flop, right? And I'm a flip-flop, am I, Jerome? Really? Okay, well then I only change, yeah, right, my opinion to what I see. So don't you dare be calling me a flip-flop.
I think there's too much. No. Look, we'll read out Jerome's super chat, you know, because he spent his hard-earned money to send it in, so we have to read it out. And it's not like you and Jerome don't know each other, so I think, you know, we're okay to do this. But he says, you are a flip-flop, man. Don't ever say I was abusing you when I'm just calling you out for what you said. And I do think it was more sort of holding you accountable to what you were saying about Frank rather than abusing you. I was reading it there, which I do agree with Jerome on. However, where I am going to defend you here, right? I think there's too much of it being, oh, you're a flip-flop. Given evidence and time, it's okay to change your opinion based on what the knowledge and everything else that's being presented in front of you. It's you're allowed to change your opinion and go, do you know what? I got it wrong. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm seeing and stuff like that. It's okay to do that. It's called flexibility of thought.
Yep. And it's people like Jerome, yeah, right? And I'm not having a go at anybody, right? But when it's people like Jerome saying that I'm a flip-flop when I was the one that was defending Frank for the longest, quite possibly the longest possible time, when I was told by you, Dave, and you, Jack, right, that, oh, well, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So how am I a flip-flop? Explain that to me.
What I
And
will say
to
to
be
you,
honest-
Ryan, though, and I'm going to say the same what I said to Jerome. I get, people holding each other to account because they're, to their thoughts. And the reason why it gets like that is because things get passionate and things get heated, amongst the season and stuff. So you're more in trying to sort of hit back when you're right. 100%. I get it, right? I feel like everyone feels that frustration. But the reality is we shouldn't be infighting right now. Now is not the time when this club is careering towards relegation. Now is the time to go, do you know what? We've all said things that were wrong. Let's just unite now and put it towards the board, because if we're infighting, it's not going to hold anybody accountable.
Dave, this is why I said to you last week, right? I don't care, right, about Frank now. I don't care, and after Saturday's performance, right? Just when you get a chance to speak to Dermo, right, Dave, and when you next speak to Dermo, ask him or if you can't ask him, right, go on to his after the whistle after Burnley, right, and see what I said about this board, because I've got to the point that I'm not giving my opinion on the next manager, right? I refuse to, right? I refuse to, and that's my opinion, and I'm allowed to say that if I want to, right? But what I will be going after from now on is that board. Until they're gone,
Good.
I refuse to have an opinion on any manager, because people like Jerome, right, are trying to come back and call me this, that, and the other, right? This is why, right? And I don't want to be sounding like a broken record, but this is why people, right, can seriously hurt themselves, right? Even over something as silly as that. Do you know what I mean, Dave? And this is on a basis that fans need to stick with each other, right, and not start calling people with this, that, and the other. Because when people start doing that, you don't know what they've got, Jerome, right? You don't know if I've got mental health problems or not, but what you do know is, right, is my opinion on things. So at least a little bit.
I don't think flip-flop, though, should be taken as like an abusive word or anything, Ryan. Like, it's just a coin term just to represent that.
That's why I'm not giving my opinion on any more managers until this board's gone. Until this board's gone, I'm not giving my opinion on any manager, right? Because then people like Jerome, right? Because I can only use Jerome as this because he thinks that I'm the biggest flip-flopper out there, right? So if I'm the biggest flip-flop, right? Fine. But do you know what the thing is, though, Dave, right? This is why I'm not going to give my opinion on any other manager ever again. And that's why I'm targeting the board from now on until this board are gone. Season in, season out, this board are going to be getting abused.
I agree. Well, no, obviously not abusing and stuff. There's a right way to do things, especially if you want people to be along with the message and join you and stuff. There does have to be sort of a right way of doing things. But I do agree that the board should be getting a lot of attention. Even once Frank goes and a new guy comes in, you got to keep going after the board. But I'm going to defend Jerome here. I am going to defend Jerome here, because flip-flop is a term is something that is used on the internet on a daily basis in every fan base and stuff, and it is a bit different from abusing someone and cutting them down and stuff like that. I do think Jerome means it more in a light-hearted way rather than a way to really get at you and trigger you and stuff like that. But that's
Dave. He doesn't know what. Yeah, but he doesn't know me personally, where you know me a lot more. So you can see why
Jerome does be in the back end and stuff. Jerome's a friendly guy. Jerome isn't this monster. Jerome is a great guy. He's a family guy. He's a really nice guy, and it's not ill-intended at all. And you also got to remember, Jerome was on the unpopular side of the opinion as well, and stuff like that. And he's just used to hitting back. And, and all he was trying to do is just wake people up to what he was seeing and alert people to it and stuff. It's not bad natured or bad intention. And anyway, once it starts reaching this point, I have learned it is time to sort of end it off here, and we'll go again tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day.
Can I say this though? Yeah, right. With the board, right, it's got me to the point, where I'm gonna have my pitchforks out and my and the fire ready to start sticking it so far up their backsides, Dave. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but that's how I feel now. I'm gonna having fire.
Don't violence.
no, not literally, but I've got my pitchfork out and my and a bit of fire, yeah, right, just to actually stick it right up their backsides. Do you know what I mean? Because quite clearly, when we
Sounds painful.
knew that
Again, we don't condone violence or enjoyment.
Yeah,
on
it
this
sounds
channel.
painful. I'm not sure.
Right, but, right, no, I don't condone it. But look, right, this is the thing. When it's like this, yeah, right, and everybody needs to get behind attacking the balls. Literally, Dave, they need to, because if they don't start attacking this board, we're just going to be in the same
This is
place in
my
another
point, though,
12
right?
months.
This is my point. You know, getting sidetracked with Jerome, who called you a flip flop, you know, doesn't help the cause, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you're just going to ignore that and just go for what you know is right.
Start throwing flaming flip flops at the board. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Light some sandals on fire. Start throwing them at it.
It's not even flaming flip. It's not even burning the flip flops and then starting to throw them. Right? It's literally. I've got my pitchforks out ready for this board now.
All right.
I thought, yeah, right. I honestly thought that it would never change when Levy left. I knew it wouldn't change from when Levy left. But now, all of a sudden, right, everyone's only starting to wake up to seeing that. And then today we've got, I've heard, right, that
all right.
one of the grandsons are actually going to be on the board. What the hell?
Yeah.
All right.
Look, to be fair, Rhino, to be fair, what I will say is, I think most people were sort of not in the Lewis family camp. I think most people are like, you know what, we'll sit here and we'll wait and see what happens. But Rhino, you have a good evening, sir, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Yeah, well, this club's going to be the death of me, I tell you.
Well, try not to.
Don't let it.
Yeah, don't let it. There's
better things.
Plenty
better
of
things.
going on
Better things. Better things are out there, like ice cream and kittens.
We got you smiling, though. That's the main thing. We got you smiling.
Yeah. Alrighty, Ryan.
Well,
thanks for coming on, sir.
One good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Have a good rest of your evening, man.
Oh,
See you later,
I'll try.
Yeah,
See you later.
Please do. Please do try. Enjoy yourself. Have a good one. See you, Ryan.
Yeah. See ya.
You know what? I do like making Ryan smile, I have to say, you know, because he comes in so frustrated sometimes. It's good just to make him smile, you know, even if we don't agree on things. And that's the wonderful thing about human beings interacting. You know, I absolutely love that about it. So big up, Ryan.
Well,
look,
thanks for everybody coming on. We went through a lot of guests, so appreciate you guys. And I think for the most part, everybody got a good lengthy say. Thanks for all the support, by the way, from various people that donated to the channel, you know, giving their thoughts and opinions. Artist T, Logan THFC, Jerome, Chris, and then Sean Hurl as well. I do appreciate you guys. It is very generous. And thanks, of course, to the members who take time out of their evening to come on, give us their opinions. You know, they get to do it at least once a week, and we do appreciate you guys for coming on and doing that. It does make this show special, and hopefully you enjoy it. And if anybody's ever interested to do so, feel free to join us next time. But I think tomorrow will be a panel show, if I'm not mistaken. And then Wednesday, huge game against Eintracht Frankfurt. So we just got to keep dusting ourselves down and keep going, keep pushing through as best we can.
And lesson of the day, it's okay to be a flip-flop as long as you hold your hands up. We don't need to get rattled by being called a flip-flop. It's okay. It's okay. Everyone's wrong at times. It's okay just to sit there and go, do you know what? Misjudged that one. So
we've seen a lot of those, to be fair. We've seen a lot of people say, you know what, I was a big fan of Frank. Now I kind of just feel like it's not going to work out. You know, even if they say, like, a lot of them will still say they think Frank's a good manager, but they'll just say it's just not working out, which I think is very, very appropriate way to go about it, to be honest.
And we must stick together, everybody.
Must stick together. Well said, Dave. Calmer heads prevail. Act like Paul. Listen to Paul V. He's an experienced head. Listen to Paul there. But thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next panel show. Have a good evening. Come on, you Spurs.
Au revoir, as Lloris would say.